Yeah, right from the off, it was always going to come to the Midleton game. Even if we had beaten Stars the last time, lose to Midleton, and we were still going to be out on the points difference. So it was always going to be the last game, win or bust.
Now, in terms of that SARS game, we covered it. It was a remarkable match from our perspective. I don't know, what phrase would you use from your perspective, Mark?
Yeah, I could use a couple of them, I suppose. But I felt we played very well on the night. I think we done more than enough to win the game. But look, as it says, goals win games, and can't be coughing up goals like that to teams like SARS and expect to come out winning the game at the end of it. But we hope we analysed it afterwards, looked back on things. A lot of them were our own mistakes, and we'd be hoping we learn from those mistakes now going into the Midleton game. And look, as I said, cut out the goals and your score 122 again. You're putting yourself in a right chance of winning the game.
Yeah, but it must have been some punch in the stomach, though, to have a scoring tally like that and still lose the game.
Yeah, as I said, and it could have been more. We had a couple of poor wides. Look, I felt, especially at the start of the second half, like we dominated the game there for lots of periods. But look, as I said it the last time we spoke before the Stars game, the calibre of their forwards is unbelievable, and it's no different with Midleton. And if you cough up them chances, they're going to take the goals. And you do that, like, you can't expect to win a game by conceding 4 goals.
Okay, Shane Kingston was incredible that night. Was banged up, though, in the latter stages. What's his fitness and indeed the fitness across the squad?
That's good. Shane, yeah, he took a heavy bang on the night, but thankfully he came through okay. It was nothing serious. He'd be good to go. I suppose Donnacha Murphy and Brian Turnbull are the major ones who missed out on the SARS game. Now, thankfully, again, everything seems to be going their way, winning their battle. It's I suppose it's whether they can see out to 60 minutes or not will be the big question. But we're hoping to have everyone clean, fit, good to go.
Okay, and finally, it is make or break. No safety nets here. All systems go, and everybody, I suppose, realises that fact.
Oh yeah, big time. We know it's make it. This is, as everyone's saying, it's proper championship hurling here now. It's knockout. You have to go out, give it your all, wear a heart in your sleeve, and hopefully you come out of it, or else you're waking up Sunday morning out of the championship.
No, Jared, thanks so much for joining us. I'm not going to talk about tonight's game as the starting question. I'm going to go back a couple of weeks. The SARS game, we were at it. You were desperately unlucky. Talk to me about the team speech in Cork you ran just after that.
I'm not sure that we were desperately unlucky. I think, to be fair, Stars were better than us on the night and finished stronger. In terms of the team speech, it was really a situation where we had to focus the lads in the next game. We didn't have a whole lot of time to recover. We were playing Ballyhay the following week, and we just knew from then on in, really, that every game we played was going to be knockout hurling. So really, that was the speech. We were happy enough. We were happy enough overall. We were disappointed with a few aspects of our game. We are a sort of a work in progress, and we're developing through every game we play. So overall, we were pleased, but disappointed with the result, and we felt we didn't do ourselves justice in the performance.
Okay, talk about then that game then against Ballyhay. Looking at the scoreline, it looked all so easy, but it was anything but.
No, it was anything but. We had a very difficult 40 minutes. To be fair, Ballyhay, we started lively enough, missed a couple of opportunities. Ballyhay came into the game, were very strong, were very aggressive in their work rate and their tackling, and we had to match that. And really, we did. We worked our way into the game, got a couple of scores, and just before halftime, we felt we were coming more and more into the game as it progressed. Halftime break, then we just knew really we were a few points down. We knew we were staring down the barrel of a gun in a lot of ways. We spoke about upping our performance and getting a better return from all the individuals in the team, and we did that in the second half, particularly in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Ballyhay lost a player or two then, and that sort of took the glass off for a bit in terms of made it difficult for them to stay competitive. But I think for 40 minutes we were under a lot of pressure, but we got a lot out of it, and we were very pleased with the result overall, Colm.
Okay, and it brings us then to tonight's game against Douglas. You mentioned the phrase there, staring down the barrel of a gun. It is very much the case of that for the two sides tonight in Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
Oh, I think it absolutely is. Like I suppose from the minute we lost the Stars, we were in a situation, as I said earlier, where we were playing knockout hurling, and I think definitely it's a winner take all situation. It's great. It's great excitement, and it's going to be obviously brilliant for the team that comes out on top, and then for the team that doesn't really, they're out of the championship. So that's a difficult scenario, but we're looking forward to it. It's a great challenge. Douglas are a seriously competitive team, and they had a fierce good performance against Stars, but particularly unlucky to lose that game. I thought the injury that Shane Kingston suffered that night had a big influence on the outcome overall. So I think we'll be up against it, but we're looking forward to the challenge. We've prepared very well, so it's a great opportunity for us to display our wares in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and we're excited about that.
And indeed our thanks to Ger and to Mark for their time during the course of the week. Beautiful evening here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, getting a slight bit chilly as we're heading closer and closer to September. But I'm lucky to have three hardy men up alongside me here in the commentary box. Mark Landers, Shawnee McGrath and Kieran Murphy. Lads, very welcome first of all. Super Saturday was the phrase that I used a little earlier. This new format of the hurling championship in Cork has definitely proven to be just that.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Colm, and a lot of the games that we've covered already this year, we've said how enthusiastic and the life that has been breathed into the championship at all grades. I suppose tonight we're here with probably the biggest game, because I suppose you have two of the main teams, Midleton and Douglas, playing, and whoever wins tonight go through to the next round of the championship. And by virtue, the tables are 4-2-2 at the moment. Stars are 4, but Stars are automatically through because they have already beaten the two teams, Midleton and Douglas, so they can't be beaten on a head-to-head. So I suppose it's great in the overall context of things. The championship has been fantastic so far at all grades, and we're really, really looking forward to an exciting game this evening. Okay, well, you were crunching the figures there on the Senior A. We'll be talking through all the tables a little closer or a little later in the programme. Shawnee, I'll bring you in there. You concur with Mark in terms of the excitement that this new format has generated, and some might say the question is, why has it taken us this long to get here?
Yeah, but I suppose I would have been one of the ones at the start of it that was a little bit critical, being straight with you, Colm. I was looking forward to maybe a straight old-fashioned knockout, considering where we were with trying to get the season played in advance of an inter-county season, but I couldn't be any more complimentary now at this stage. It's been a fantastic campaign for most teams. It's been a fantastic campaign for the Cork players. They've got their form back. Some players like Conor Lehan and Shane Kingston have been playing out of their skin, and it's a really exciting fair now tonight. There's loads of permutations that could result in teams getting through, teams not getting through. Last night was incredible with Corsi Rovers getting through. It was a dramatic fair, so really looking forward to it. There's top players on view. Looking forward to even seeing the style that Ben O'Connor has impacted on Midleton, who would be classed, I suppose, as one of the traditional teams in Cork hurling, and would have played a very traditional style over all the time. I never remember Midleton really playing a terribly tactical game, get it into the full forward line quickly, but Ben as a hurler was one of the best that played the game. We played him last year up in Mallow against Charleville, and we should have been beaten, to be honest. We were lucky to get out of it. A couple of late scores from David Postede and Paddy Cunningham got us out of jail. Donald Cronin at 35 came on and changed the game, but Ben introduced the game that night that we struggled big time to counteract, and it'll be interesting to see how he adapts. So just reading Luke Farrell this morning in the paper, what he said is that he's kind of using what's available to him and not just making huge wholesale changes, adapting to what's there and then impacting maybe his running style game that maybe he had with Newtown. So I'm looking forward to seeing that as well.
Okay, Kieran, just bringing you in on that there, how difficult is it to sell a new format, a new style to a traditional club like Midleton?
Yeah, look, I suppose that was the challenge for Ben at the start, but I think Ben, he's smart enough to know that you just can't come in and do sweeping changes straight away, and you probably saw that against Stars in particular in the first round. There was just a few small signs of what he probably wanted to introduce. There was still a lot of Midleton's kind of traditional style of play, but certainly against Ballyhay then you could see that Ben had a little bit more time to work with the team, a little bit more kind of possession ball in around the centre, running off the shoulders, and it's going to be really interesting to see that here now tonight, especially in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in the wide open spaces, because if Midleton can execute what Ben is trying to bring in, certainly inside here is the one place where you get the most benefit out of it.
Okay, well, we'll get back on to the actual teams here tonight in a few moments' time. Raf, alongside me, is just going to bring up the tables there for tonight and for the Premier Senior Hurling Championship in general, Group A, Group B and Group C. You've been crunching the numbers here next to me.
Yeah, well, I suppose, look, I'll go through the first group there, SARS, Midleton, Douglas and Ballyhay. So at the moment, as I said earlier on, SARS are through, they're qualified. The question is whether they're going to go straight to a semi-final, and there's only one team can go to the semi-final column, and that's between SARS, Blackrock and Glen Rovers. The first job all three teams have to do is win their own game this evening, and then at the end of that it's going to be scoring differences. And just to bring in the Senior A Championship earlier on today, Father O'Neill's finished on plus 34 points, Charleville finished on 31 points, and Kanturk finished on 30. So 1 point separated Kanturk and Charleville from being in the semi-final directly, and only 4 points between the top team and the second or the third team for actually another. So that just shows how close it is, and I think something similar could happen here, because you have Glen Rovers on plus 16 points and you have Blackrock on plus 16 points as well, and then you have SARS that are playing Ballyhay. SARS will be expected to put up a big score there this evening, Column. So we'll just have to wait to see how the evening will play out. But in terms of SARS will be in the top slot by the fact that they've already beaten Midleton and Douglas, and Midleton and Douglas can only get either 1 or 2 points tonight, so they'll either be on 3 or 4 points at the end of the game.
Shawnee, I'll bring you in then. I'll have to give you Group C to run through. Spicy one tonight, just down the road.
Yeah, I suppose there's a couple of things at stake. Number one, there's bragging rights. There's Northside bragging rights. There's a great tradition between the Glen and PSHC. I suppose PSHC over the last couple of years haven't, shot the lights out. They got to a semi-final, I think, a couple of years ago. They had a change of management this year, and Colin Sullivan, Tony's brother, is involved, and he has PSHC running through his veins. A real old style, great player on his own day. So, but a permutation there is that if PSHC win, they go on 5. They top the group, and the Glen sit on 4. And depending on how other games, what happens is, I think, is if SARS finish on 6, then it's the top of each of the groups go directly into a semi-final. So it's unlikely that Ballyhay will beat them. But if they do, PSHC could find themselves going from 3 to 5 and qualifying automatically for a semi-final as well, and avoiding the likes of UCC, who look like the team to beat now. So what's at stake as well, I suppose, huge game, is Carrigtwohill and the Bears. I mean, the Bears find themselves now potentially facing down a relegation battle, which I suppose for a traditional club was something that they didn't expect. There's a bit going on out there, and management have changed around, so that's a huge game for them below as well. And we saw the game with the Glen and Carrigtwohill, pitches like Cove. That game tonight is down in Carrigaline. It's a tighter field. It mightn't suit, as I keep using the word traditional, but teams that are used to playing in the park and Parky Ring, those tight grounds mightn't suit them. So that'll be a huge game as well for St. Finn Bears. Okay,
and Kieran, you've been scribbling away furiously down there. Erin's Own is the game to watch tonight in Group B.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that is a key game there. It's a kind of a winner takes all. It's going to be really interesting. Erin's On without Kieran the Hero Murphy, who's made a massive impact to them this year when he's come on and played in their games. So he's going to be a big loss for them tonight. Newtown, the game's on down in Glantan, so that's it's kind of close. It's a close venue for them. They might see that as a little bit of a benefit for them, but it's certainly an exciting game. And even the other game, Blackrock and Bishopstown in the group. I mean, Bishopstown were ahead for a long time against Erin's Own and Newtown, so they'll certainly want to try and avoid any kind of 3 straight losses, and they won't be rolling over too easy against Blackrock, so that will be a good game as well. And
Bishopstown have been very unlucky so far in the championship, because they have led on both occasions against Newtown Chandram and Blackrock by 7 or 8 points, and both teams have come back to actually to beat them. So Erin's Own and Newtown Chandram. So even though they're sitting on 0 points, they actually are playing a way better column than they actually are showing on the table.
Okay, well, I just want to maybe run through the actual permutations, because we'll be crunching the numbers as the night goes on. So how it will be ranked will be teams 1 to 6 will be ranked as follows on completion of the group tables, which we'll know around 8:15, 8:20 tonight. So number 1 will be the top group winner, number 2 will be the second group winner, number 3 will be the third group winner, 4 will be the top group runner-up, 5 will be the second group runner-up, and 6 will be the third group runner-up. And then the quarterfinals, so quarterfinal A will be 2v5, Quarter-final B will be 3v4, and quarter-final C will be 6v the divisional winners, and that's UCC. And Shawnee, I'd say the bit of a booby prize there, as per your column in the Irish Examiner on Friday.
Yeah, like you get a sense Monday morning, I even got a sense for my own club, Imo Kelly are gone, all the teams have a chance. But like if UCC have everyone turn up, and if the championships and the likes said, well obviously Shane Conway, Lixna are gone, so he's going to be available. The lad Montgomery is down in Waterford. Like if all these fellas are Abbeyside, if they're all available, UCC are a formidable outfit. Owen McCarthy, Shane Barrett, McLaughlin, is it? Like they're all top quality players. Okay, you could argue that Imo Kelly weren't at full strength. Everyone was talking about Shemi Harnedy missing, Paddy missing, Decky Dalton missing, but they also were missing the two Spillane, so you got to take that into account. But UCC tradition, certainly my time, and Mark will remember as well when Imo Kelly was strong. Like UCC contested the 99 and the 01 county finals very, very. When they get everyone out, they're as good as anyone in any championship.
Yeah, but I've often found that UCC will always play well against probably the best team in the county at the time. And the fact that Imekilly had won the last 3 counties, I thought there was an extra incentive in it for UCC. They got the max out of their team on the night. And I suppose the biggest question is whether they'll have the Paddy O'Loughlin's and players like Montgomery, whether they're still involved in senior championship in their own county as well. And it's very, very debatable. But the big thing for me coming out of the UCC game last weekend, Colin, was the fact that there was 6 players from the Musgrave division, from we said junior and intermediate teams, that were playing in in the senior club championship. Like they will be gone out of UCC in a number of years, and they'll be going back to the Musgrave division. And that's what McKilly was laid on from day one, was giving junior and intermediate players an opportunity to play senior hurling. So like if I was in the Musgrave division now, I'd be saying to myself, UCC are doing massive work for our clubs, because they're giving like take Carol Walsh for example. He played senior for UCC last Sunday night. He didn't start for Ballincollig last night, so he's got massive experience out of UCC.
Okay, well the clock is ticking towards starting time here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. In the background you can hear the PA announcement on tonight's team, and that leads us nicely into bringing up tonight's team. We're going to start off with the Douglas team. Very Donald Maher in goals, Brian O'Neill, Conor Kingston, Dylan Ward, Owen Cadigan, Mark Harrington, Killian O'Donovan, Cian Baldwin, Steve Moylan, Owen Dolan, Shane Kingston, Mark O'Connor, Alan Cadigan, Shane Dunnigan and Andy O'Connell. Kieran, I'm going to bring you in down there. No Brian Turnbull again. How big of a blow is that to Douglas?
Quality player. The last day he was missing against Stars as well too, and what it does is if you have Alan Cadigan and Brian Turnbull inside the full forward line, you have a real worry about trying to keep both of them quiet. Whereas if you've just one inside now, which would be Alan Cadigan tonight, it just gives you that opportunity to maybe just lean on that side and maybe crowd out Alan as much as you can. Whereas if you have someone like Brian in the opposite wing, you have to respect both of them, because both of them can do serious damage. He's a big loss to Douglas tonight, especially the way they play. They like to bring the players back, keep the space up in the forward line and hit the wings. And Brian, he's a big loss now for tonight for Douglas, and it's disappointing for him, because he's a young fella who's experienced a lot of injuries over the last few years, and it would be great to see him get a run in championship hurling, because he has quality and it would be great to see it.
Yeah, and I think, sorry Mark, that like the likes of Brian, see, from like obviously Douglas club, I'm Midleton man, but like from a Cork perspective, like Brian Turnbull seems to be a little bit injury prone, and I would have seen him a number of years ago as potentially a real top class player that could be another additional player for Cork, but hopefully he's not going to be plagued for the rest of his career like that. Players get that tag, and
like he got the minor hurler of the year, the All Ireland minor hurler of the year, and straight out of it then he tore his cruciate straight after it, and he has been picking up hamstring injuries and stuff like that. So there's something in it there, like that if he got a clear run at it, he would be a fantastic prospect from a Cork perspective.
Okay, thanks Mark. We'll bring up the Midleton team there as they're falling into position there. It's Joe Loftus, Killian Burke, Owen Maloney, Shayna Smith, Pádraig O'Farrell, Sean O'Leary, Hayes, James Nagel. Midfield is Sam Quirk and Cormac Walsh, Pa White and Cormac Bosang, the half forward line, Luke O'Farrell, Tommy O'Connell and Garen Manley. And as Conor Lahan proved last time out, when he's on form, he's a very hard man to stop.
Yeah, and then Kieran mentioned the fact that the club format has suited the inter-county players to give them some form, and Conor he was excellent against Sars, and he got 3 goals against Ballyhay the last day, so his form has been excellent. But Garen Manley is named at number 15 this evening. He hasn't played all year because of a broken hand, and just looking at the inside line from Midleton, Luke O'Farrell, Tommy O'Connell and Garen Manley, I think you won't see a 2-man inside line unless the Tommy O'Connell rolls out the field and stuff like that. I can see a lot of ball being supplied into the inside line, and possibly the likes of Per White and Cormac Buzang probably maybe playing a withdrawn role in the half hour and try and give the full forward line space and get as much early ball into the inside line, because there's massive pace in that inside line for Midleton.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking from again a Cork perspective, fellas like Pa White and Cormac Buzang, we had Pa now, he's pushing on. 2011 he was a minor. I was selected with John Constantine, 9 years on, 27, but he's still a quality player. He's probably on a goal a game. He got a goal I think the last day. Bazang as well, 2 years ago we were down here with the Glen 2018. He came from nowhere. He was only a young fella, so there's fierce potential and pace inside there, and it'll be a real shootout when you go up to the Douglas side as well. Kieran has mentioned Cadigan, but Shane Kingston has been a revelation so far this year. I think he got 6 points or something from play the last day, which is super shooting, so it'll be an intriguing contest from a forward sector point of view to see how both attacks do.
Yeah.
Yes, certainly. I suppose the one thing I'm really interested in seeing tonight is what are Douglas going to do with Owen Cadigan? Will they match him up straight on Conor Lehan? And then on the other side, then I suppose Midleton have a great man marking man in Killian Burke, and you could probably see him on Alan Cadigan and looking to kind of stick tight with him. So it'll be very interesting to see how kind of both teams use the man marking system, and will they follow? Will Douglas follow Conor Lehan around the pitch because he likes to move from side to side and try and get on ball in space? And if Owen Cadigan is picking him up, that'll be a great battle tonight, and it'll be really interesting to see how that one fares.
Huge pressure as well, though. Sorry, Mark,
yep.
on Douglas, given the shock defeat for the footballers there a week ago. They're playing Nemo Sunday week, which is an onerous enough task. So theoretically, you could see 2 Douglas teams out of the championship in the first week of September.
Yeah, but I suppose it's a bit early, Colm, to predict that, I suppose, and the way matches have gone, anything can happen. But it is certainly difficult, this format at the moment, for dual clubs. And Newcestown, we saw them earlier on today. They're into the quarter final of the Senior A. They're playing football again next weekend. But I think clubs just have to kind of, I suppose, grind their teeth on it at the moment. But I suppose tonight for the concentration on the Douglas Holland team, and I think a lot of the hurlers in particular in Douglas have made a commitment this year to probably concentrate on the hurling more than anything, and the footballers in the same situation. But the other match-up, I suppose, there, and we mentioned Shane Kingston, he's in a great vein of form, but I'm really looking forward to Sean O'Leary Hayes, because he's a really, really good talent as well. He has played for the Cork Minors and All-Ireland final and the under-21s in the last number of years, and I think this is a really big test for him tonight. And I suppose he is involved in the Cork senior setup as well, and we are looking for a number of defenders and stuff like that. And I think no better showcase this evening to be in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and you walk across the field before we came in. The field is absolutely magnificent, and we've seen Thurles played in it, but Páirc Uí Chaoimh this evening is without question as good as Thurles. It is in absolutely fantastic shape, and that's a credit to the groundsmen and to the county board to have the field in such a quality position for a big game this evening.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with Mark really on O'Leary Hayes. Obviously, I suppose Cork over the last couple of years, a bit of the Achilles heel has been that we're scoring well, but maybe at the backs we're not defending as tightly as we could. Go back to traditional defenders like Wayne Sherlock and Brian Murphy. They were teak tough, and O'Leary Hayes has the potential to be in that bracket. I mentioned again during the week, you were at the game last week, Mark James Keating, who at times struggled a little bit with the under-21s last year, but was a revelation for UCC the other night. So to get some defenders out of this championship this year would be fantastic, and O'Leary Hayes to have a good campaign with Midleton and push on is only going to be a trump card for Cork hopefully later on in the year.
That is going to be another key matchup there, as Mark said, especially if he's picking up Shane Kingston. I mean, you think back to the Fitzgibbon earlier in the year. Shane Kingston has been in outstanding form all year. He was sensational here the last day against Sars. He really gave an exhibition of hurling, and really kind of took the game by the scruff of the neck when Douglas needed it most. And I was really impressed by Douglas here the last day against Sars. I thought they were very unlucky to lose the game, in particular in the second half. I thought they played some great hurling. So this game is going to be a cracker here tonight, and it's certainly one that we're all looking forward to up here.
Yeah, and like we mentioned about Turnbull picking up a lot of injuries. Got to go back in a small number of years where Shane Kingston actually broke his leg as a minor. He's come back, and some people, an injury like that could finish their career, but fair testament to him. He is hurling out of his skin, and he hasn't lost any of his pace with the broken legs.
We're going to have to break it now for the national anthem. Little ripple of applause here around Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and it's an eerie Páirc Uí Chaoimh now, given the rules and regulations in play in terms of fans or lack of fans here in the ground, just the squads and the media. But now a minute silence for the late Kathleen Crotty, who was a stalwart of Midleton GA Club, worked in the Midleton GA Club shop for 40 years. And now we take a pause for 1 minute to remember the memory of Kathleen Crotty, and our deepest sympathies and condolences to her family and her husband Patrick, children and extended family. Referee Simon Stokes is in the middle of the field, and we're off and underway in this make or break Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship clash. The Co-op Superstore sponsored, and indeed sponsors of our coverage here tonight, and it's first blood for Midleton. It's dropping in easily to Donald Maher from the shot from Cormac Bosang. Unlucky last time out here, didn't have much chance with a lot of those SAR strikes. Shane Kingston on the ball. What an exhibition he gave us last week. Sean O'Leary Hayes is the man tasked with him as things stand at the moment. Owen Dolan all the way back as far as Owen Cadigan, and Cadigan from about 60-70 yards, well taken though by the goalkeeper Joe Loftus, who tracked it all the way back. Loftus opts to go short out as far as Pádraig O'Farrell. He's wing back, playing it right down here in front of us in the stand. Well taken there, in a clean pair of heels there by Tommy O'Connell. But dawdled for a few seconds, was helped out by Pa White. And now it's Cormac Walsh who's on the run. That's Walsh has a runner inside him. That's Luke O'Farrell. Angle tight for O'Farrell, but what a strike and what a goal and what a start for Midleton.
Oh, a fantastic start for Midleton. Tommy O'Connell had won the ball out in the half-hour line. He looked like he was ducking in to play for a free. The ball is broken inside, and Luke O'Farrell has finished to the roof of the net. But the big thing, Colm, is that Brian Turnbull has actually started for Douglas.
They're going to need his scoring talents, given the body blow that they've just suffered in the opening seconds here of this clash. Farrell, it looked like the angle was tightening on him, but just the defence back off him. and you can't give the likes of Luke O'Farrell an inch, not to mind a yard, and he swallowed it up, and they paid the ultimate price on that occasion. Unlucky there by the wing back James Nagle, as Owen Cadigan was in a foot race there, and it's gone out for a sideline there on the far side of the field.
I suppose the other thing, Colm, is that Alan Cadigan has started as centre forward, Shane Kingston has started inside, and Sean O'Leary Hayes has followed him. And Kieran had mentioned at the start of the game that possibly would Mark Harrington pick up Conor Lehane, and he has. And Owen Cadigan has stayed a right half back.
And you mentioned Mark Harrington there, and a huge shoulder by Mark, and the shot that came has drifted wide. And how Douglas badly need a score to settle them after the concession of that goal in the opening minute. Just to mention as well too, as part of our Co-op Superstores coverage tonight, we'll be keeping track of the other games in the Premier Senior Hurling Championship, and after tonight's match we're going to have a programme here for about 20-25 minutes, provided hypothermia doesn't set in here for Mark Landers here alongside me, and we'll be discussing tonight's action here and across the grades as well too, and looking at who's heading into the knockout stages of the championships in the various divisions. Cormac Bosang was the man on the ball there, aiming it in towards Tommy O'Connell, but beaten to it on this occasion. Great play by the full-back there, Conor Kingston, who's gone to ground, but manages to get the offload, and Douglas trying to manufacture something from Keane Baldwin in a great foot race inside there, and the man that wins it is Alan Cadigan. Cadigan with a blaster of a shot and over, and that's definitely a sign of things to come when he gets it.
Start for Sean O'Leary Hayes as well too. Shane Kingston on 2 balls, and he's after dispossessing them twice, so that'll probably settle Sean down.
Sam Quirk is the man on the ball there. First time ball in towards the corner. It's going to be a race to keep that one in play. Did ever so well there, the corner forward. Here comes Midleton, a shot, and that's gone over and there was a follow through there on Conor Lehane, caught on the face there. He's gone to ground there. The defender,
it looks like Owen Cadigan, I'd say, may have followed through late on. There was nothing in it, Colm, really, to be honest with it. Conor Lehane had won a great ball in the corner. Garen Manley was involved, flicked it back to him. Conor had come around to make space for him to get him into a shooting position, and Owen Cadigan, in his enthusiasm to get to him, has just collided into him. Absolutely nothing in it at all.
Killian O'Donovan is on the ball here in front of us, forced to go inside, taking the call there from his centre back Mark Harrington. Great ball by Harrington all the way in there towards Alan Cadigan. Cadigan showing a clean pair of heels for the second time tonight. He's been pulled back, and that's going to be a free in, and there's a bit of pushing and shoving, and he was trying to take the quick free, and Owen Maloney was slowing him down, and as a result the referee has moved the ball into a more favourable position, and it's going to be a chance for Douglas to nail their second score of the evening.
Yeah, and again, a very quick ball in, and Alan Cadigan is out, and just so people know, Alan Cadigan has now gone back in from centre forward, gone into corner forward. Killian Buck has picked him up, and Shane Kingston's gone back out to centre forward. So just a little bit of showmanship, I suppose, on the Douglas side, moving the forwards around to see what was going to happen. But I think we all knew that Sean O'Leary Hayes was going to follow Shane Kingston, and
I think we all knew as well that Shane Kingston was going to put that one over the bar as well too. Mark Harrington has a broken hurley back there, and his enthusiasm to clear things out. Back right across the field here with Killian O'Donovan in front of us. Taking it from Brian O'Neill. Killian O'Donovan backs himself from nearly 70 yards. Goalkeeper waving it wide, but the umpire is waving it as a point, and that's a nice boost, Shawnee, from your wing back.
Absolutely, a great score there from Killian, and it's exactly what you want from your half back line as well, with so much space created, and maybe defenders maybe creating not giving too much space inside. To have a good long distance striker reminds you of John Gardner in his heyday. Good long strike, and Douglas have clawed their way back in after a great start from Midleton. Douglas are actually looking like the better team at the moment.
Just Kieran, I want to bring you in there, watching the championship here in Cork on our live streams over the last couple of weeks, and on the coverage, DG Cahir and RT. How do you think it compares with the rest of the country?
I think there's been a notable kind of step up this year, to be honest. I don't know, is it because of the condensed season, or maybe it's the kind of group format, but it's certainly come alive this year.
Conor Lehane's free batted away by a very busy and well-oiled Douglas defence. Bit of a race on for it there, and that race going to be won by James Nagle. Gets it out to his looks to be the free taker Conor Nahan from a few moments ago, back almost in a centre back posting on that occasion. Brian O'Neill trying to ferret the ball out down there, more like the Aviva than Páirc Uí Chaoimh down there for a moment, but looks to be Cadigan that's on it there, and goes all the way back to his goalkeeper, to Dolmar, and he's going to switch play to a free man floating there on the far side of the field. That is Turnbull. It's Shane Kingston. Back to Turnbull, but overcooked the pass, putting the man wearing number 20 under a bit of pressure. Turnbull did ever so well to duck out of it. The connection though wasn't the greatest under massive pressure from James Nagle. And it's back with Midleton on top of Cillian O'Donovan there. Takes a heavy blow there as he was trying to get away from Tommy O'Connell. And I'm sure the referee telling Tommy just to calm things down there a small bit.
It's very interesting, Colin, that we can, the fact that there's no people here, you can actually hear the communication on both sides of the team, both teams. The players are all communicating fierce well with each other, and I suppose that is one of the biggest things with the Premier Senior Championship, is the amount of communication that's going on in the course of the game.
Great play by Mark Harrington, rides about 3 or 4 tackles, and in the end Owen Dolan looked to have fouled the ball there, and referee stepping in.
And just one point as well, I kind of contradicted myself a while ago saying that there was space and there wasn't space, but just that last cameo there where Brian Turnbull had it and he kind of topped it, even though they seem to be creating space inside, whether it is poor striking or they're not putting it into the direction properly, like there is a little bit of messing going on, and like what they're trying to do I think inside is Douglas creates space for Owen Cadigan, but the delivery inside hasn't been great and they're overcomplicating it a little bit, I think.
Sean O'Leary Hayes, a wonderful pass there to pick out Cormac Bosang there on the far side. He shot though trailing off wide, but 9 minutes elapsed. It's 1 goal and 1 point to Douglas's 3 points, and I'm sure, lads, fair to say Douglas will be relatively happy after conceding a goal within 60 seconds to be where they are.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've got back into it. And but I would say, in the overall context, I think Colin, both teams are getting on enough ball. Players are into their rhythm now. I think they've, everybody wants to get the first shot on and get their hands on the ball. A great score there from Cormac Welsh now in the middle of the field. But in general, it's very competitive is the first thing, and the hurling is of reasonably good standard, good quality, and I think both teams are going at it hard.
You're watching the Co-op Superstores sponsored coverage of the Co-op Superstores Premier Senior Hurling Championship game being live streamed here on the Irish Examiner, and we're delighted to be able to bring you these games in these strange times. Cillian O'Donovan backed himself from distance a little earlier. Cillian O'Donovan has backed himself from distance yet again, and that's a fine score, Kieran.
Yeah, that's a great score, and we can see it perfectly up here. Both teams are keeping their half back lines back in their positions. They're happy to leave the wing forwards go way back the field, and it just leaves space for the likes of Cillian then, that if you can play that ball out to the side, he's there for a long range point.
Trundles off the foot there of it looks to be Donncha Murphy, who's on there wearing number 21. We didn't see who made way, what the change was, but Donncha was the man who touched the ball last there. Cormac Walsh, who scored that fine point a few moments ago, taking the sideline cut, but well marshalled by Brian O'Neill down there, and walked out just in front of us here in the stand. But bit of a hook, second time of asking there from Cian Baldwin, and a great run there, but being pushed out over the side. He managed to get the ball away, and that was Owen Dolan who took the heavy shoulder, but the referee deemed he was still in possession, or the linesman at least deemed he was still in possession and couldn't get the ball away. Yeah,
it was a very good shoulder from Pádraig O'Farrell from right half back from Midleton. Real decent shoulder to shoulder, and good play by the referee Simon Stokes. He's letting the game develop and materialise, and any of the frees that he's awarded were legitimate frees, but he's leaving the game flow as best he can.
Okay, James Nagle taking the sideline there. Taken by the midfielder, and that was Sam Quirk on right across the field to his full forward to O'Connell, half blocked, and just did enough to take the sting out of it. Cillian O'Donovan is sitting in the pocket. We've seen that time and time again. He's a great outlet for his goalkeeper Donal Marr, and ball across the field, but has fallen back to O'Connell. It was a bit of a risky effort by the wing back. It's Cormac Boasang there that's getting the shot off, dropping it in towards the 14-yard line, 21-yard line, back as far as centre forward, and surprisingly, you don't see that too often. Conor Lahan driving it wide, but the referee had spotted something there in the build-up, I think, and has given that a free.
And we're only calling it now after 12 minutes, but sometimes you get a bit of luck. I mean, it was a point that Conor should have knocked over the bar himself. He should have been relying on the referee Simon Stokes to bring the ball back. And just the passage of play before, and Tommy O'Connell had won a great ball off of Conor Kingston. He went one way, but he went back the other way, Colm, and gave Alan Cadigan the opportunity to go back, and he actually just got in the slightest of flicks for a ball that should have been over the bar. Like with the space that you have in Páirc Uí Chaoimh here, Tommy would have been better off to go directly at Conor Kingston from the word go, and no need to come back and take a second bite of it.
Well, at the second bite of it, the second time of asking on that occasion, Conor Lahan putting it over the bar, and it's now 1-3 to Midleton. Douglas 4 points with just coming up on 13 minutes. We'll have our water break now coming up quite shortly. Pa White is the man, loses his footing there. Had a runner behind him, that's James Nagle. We saw a number 7 for Douglas doing spectacular things in the last few moments. We're seeing one from Midleton doing right now.
Yeah, super score and patient play. I mean, the last score there that maybe Midleton won a dubious free from was great passage of play from Cormac Bazang into Luca Farr. Lucas looked very sharp, and in that passage, Pa White stayed steady, pop pass back, and a great finish.
Sam Quirk taking a shot, almost forcing the goalkeeper, who was kind of down on the ground. The defender got across to get a stick on it, and goalkeeper was kind of deceived by the deflection and was scrambling across and couldn't keep it from crossing the line and out for 65. And Conor Lahan gonna, you'd expect, make the trek out for this one.
Yeah, and a good save by the goalkeeper, Donald Maher, because any time ball gets deflected inside in the back line there, that could end up in the back of the net very easy. But the important thing here now for Midleton, from a goal scoring opportunity, is to convert to 65.
Well, as we mentioned there earlier in the pre-game, you were doing the calculation on the Senior A, and it has proven that every single score does count.
Well, I'm just mentioning earlier on in the Senior A, Charleville and Kanturk, 1 point separate them in scoring difference, and it's the difference between a quarter-final and a semi-final.
Back with the play here out in the middle of the field, and it's Lahan trying to get it up. No joy for him. Looks to be Turnbull that's in there. And tenacious work by Midleton to try and rescue the situation, but eventually it's Keane Baldwin that finds his way. Mark Harrington, he's a powerful operator. So too is this man, Killian O'Donovan, 2 points so far. He's hardly going to make a third one on this occasion. No, he's going to aim it in on top of Alan Cadigan, who has 1-2 Midleton men for company, and they tracked him and the ball all the way out over the end line. 15 minutes elapsed here. It's 1-5 to Midleton. It's Douglas 4 points. You are watching the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship action here on the Irish Examiner. Hopefully you're enjoying the fair wherever you're watching around the world, around Cork City, around Cork County, around Ireland, and indeed, as I said, globally as well. We're getting incredible feedback from people right around the world, so please do get in touch with us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever the young people are at these days. Shawnee, you'd probably know all about all
my daughter would anyway.
All those
Instagram
things,
and all that. Snapchats, TikToks.
As opposed to, well, see, you're proving the point here. I'm sure Kieran, Mark and myself, we'd be probably past that.
I think what's obvious for the last couple of minutes is the appetite shown by Conor Lahan as well. Very tenacious, and even Midleton as a whole, they're teak tough in the tackle. You can see a little bit of Ben sprinkling in the team all right.
Chance there from Alan Cadigan, and eventually the hard work that he's been showing all night proving. Another score, got that blasted the opening score for Douglas after about 3 minutes, but he's been toiling away there. But yes, I from this vantage point, Shawnee and Kieran, will get you in here. The work rate being shown by Lahan in particular, he's spending nearly more time anywhere but centre forward.
Yeah, he's moving all over the place, and that's what Conor he likes to do. That's his natural game. He's constantly looking for those pockets. You see him there, the keeper there found him with a great puck out, and that's Conor's kind of trademark move, moving out to the wing in between the midfield and the kind of half forward line and picking up those balls. And he's picking up a lot of short balls as well too, which is, you can see it's an obvious tactic that Midleton are doing tonight, and it's certainly working at the moment.
Okay, and it's falling perfectly there for Lehane. I think more by accident than design. Some skills on show there as he tried to get himself out of trouble. Runs into Cillian O'Donovan. O'Donovan has been hugely impressive there in that wing back position so far for his side. Not on that occasion though. His connection out as far as James Nagle, who in turn fed Cian Baldwin, who's gone back to his centre back to Sean O'Leary, or Sam Quirk should I said, instead of Cian Baldwin. Sean O'Leary Hayes getting the shot off in the end, and that's pushed it out to 1-6 to 5 points in time now for the water break.
Yeah, big score now for Midleton right before the water break, and it's to be fair, both teams wouldn't mind just to maybe get a few words into the players at the moment, but I think in the overall context, I think Sam Quirk had done very well in the middle of the field as well there. Won a 50-50 ball, had been swung around, last is Holly but offloaded as well to Sean O'Leary straight into his hand, and struck a great ball off his left hand side. I suppose it's noticeable as well as that Shane Kingston, I don't know what you say, is he getting on a whole pile of ball at the moment?
He's not. I think the tactic is get it in as quickly as possible to Alan Cadigan. When he gets it in there, he probably does have the beatings of Cillian when the right ball is played in there. Obviously Cillian, half back line, what's his name, Cillian Donovan, number 7, has played excellently, but definitely if they can get quick ball in there, and maybe look, Shane is out the field. If Shane was inside and they did a swap, you might have Shane and Alan inside maybe picking up breaks, but Midleton are playing very well. I think they're very patient. You can see the tactic is, if you get bottled up and you go down a cul-de-sac, no aimless stupid shooting, turn back and find a man in the best position, and that's very notable in Lehane as well. And
they've also brought Tommy O'Connell out as a kind of a second centre forward as well. They're playing Luke O'Farrell and Gavin Manley in at the edge of the square, so I would expect if they start that tactic again, you can see a couple of diagonal balls going into the corners, because the two lads have a fair bit of pace.
Just some of the scores that we're getting into us on Twitter. The Bars are 9 points to no score up against Carricktool. It's 6 points apiece between Bishopstown and the Rockies. Those are latest scores from the last couple of minutes. Some of the games obviously gone into water breaks as well. Glen Rovers 1-5, Napiercig 2 points. You'll be delighted to hear there, Shawnee, and that's I think heading towards their water break as well. So we'll be just keeping an eye on those scores on the social media. Alan Cadigan getting the shot off there, and Alan Cadigan getting the score there. 3 points is an American player, super player, in fairness to him, and his scoring rate, like for club and county, is always around the 3 or 4 mark, and already after 15 minutes he has it.
Like Cillian Burke spent a year in the UK last year as well, and the question is, would Midleton be considering moving Shane Smith over on him, because anytime the ball goes into Cadigan, he looks like he's the beating of Cillian Burke. Mark Harrington putting Owen Cadigan under pressure there, losing the ball, and it's a chance here for Midleton for their full forward for Tommy O'Connell. Looked for a second there, he had another yard or two to take. Well, I have two forwards beside me here, and I think both of them would be saying the same thing. He should have taken on a couple of yards and part of the Gavin Manley, who was all on his own. I think if he was in Kilkenny, that would definitely have happened. Yeah, that had to be a goal there, Gavin Manley. He was all on his own, right in front of the goal. Ball had to go into him. Okay. Let off for Douglas, back at the other end of the field, and the ball spills off Shane Kingston. He was the star of the show when we were here 2 weeks ago, Mark. A much quieter night from him just tonight. At the moment, it's still very early. There's only 20 minutes gone in the game, but I mean, it's noticeable that he hasn't been on a whole pile of ball. And I think, as Shawnee remarked, the ball, Douglas seemed to be playing the ball in longer, more into Alan Cadigan more than anything, and that's, I suppose, down to the competitive nature that we're seeing in the middle of the field, and maybe in the Douglas halfback. And there's a lot of play in that position there, and if the Douglas halfbacks midfielders get a ball, they seem to be delivering it long. They're not going through the lines, and they're not going through the centre forward position at this moment in time. Another question though that has to be raised is he was pretty banged up in that game, so the concern is there some after effects from that there from 2 weeks ago. Looks, by the way, just the slight little hold up there is Cillian Burke. I'm not a medical expert from this distance. It looks though it could be like a contact lens or something like that's gone awry, but the medics are out there anyway at the moment. Yeah, would there be a slight concern that maybe Shane was banged up there? He took a very heavy blow
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, he did. He actually he was after making about a 60-70 yard run at the time, and was fouled at the end of it and took a heavy hit. But I actually think they've had opportunities to give him the ball, but they've looked up, and they're getting a lot of joy out of Alan Cadigan inside. So it's kind of hard. While Shane is kind of quiet at the moment, he's still making the runs. He could get the ball into his hand, but they're just choosing to hit Alan inside, and they're getting a lot of joy when they do kick quality ball into Alan at the moment.
Play resumes with Joe Loftus. Lots of character through Douglas players, miscommunication there, and it's falling for Conor Lahan, and Lahan is going to Lahan does what Lahan does best. It looked like there was even a little twist.
But Colin, that was a fierce break. I looked there because there was 2 Douglas defenders under the ball. There was no danger, and one seemed to, I suppose, lose it with the other, and it fell to Conor Lahan. And thanks very much.
But Conor Lahan still knew to be in the right place at the right time as well too, for a high ball in there on the Midleton exclusion zone, and it's eventually falling to Shane Donegan, who's brought to ground, and shouts for a free there. It looked to be a free there, and there was a wild swing back there on Owen Maloney, but referee has waved it out, and it's gone out for a 65.
I'm a bit surprised that wasn't a free in. I think Seamus O'Farrell would have been better served in above and Thomond Park than Páirc Uí Chaoimh, because he hauled down the full forward Shane Donegan for Douglas, and I'm very surprised that was missed.
Yeah, and Douglas in attack, apart from Cadigan, seemed to lack a small bit of zip. Obviously, when a big man like Donegan gets on the ball, you feed off the big man, and he took him on. But there didn't seem to be a whole pile of support play around him. And Brian Turnbull looks a little bit leggy at the moment. Like to see him get into the game a bit more.
Well, we were mentioning Shane Kingston a few moments ago. That's him on your screen there, right on the 65-yard line. Here comes the effort. Umpire's taking a long look at that one and waving it wide. So Midleton 1 goal and 8 points, Douglas 6 points. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for watching our coverage of tonight's clash in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship, with thanks to the Co-op Superstores. Midleton having a dream start, a goal inside 60 seconds, but Douglas have fought their way back very much into this game. Great piece of fielding down there by the Luke O'Farrell, is it? And the shot that's come off in the end, and it's gone over for a point.
Yeah, and he's fielded a couple of balls high out of the air. There's a goal and a point for Luke Farrell, but a quality ball in from Tommy O'Connell, who has been named a full forward, but is playing out the field. Great
clearance from the goalkeeper there, finding it all the way down as far as Alan Cadigan. Is that the 4th point from him tonight, Kieran?
Yeah, it's the 4th point, and really alert there. Great puck out from Donald, and goes straight down to Alan. Wasn't messing about, got it turned onto his right side, which would be his least favourite side, and absolutely no problem over the bar.
Okay, well, wonderful piece of skill there from Luke O'Farrell there to take Cormac Bosang's delivery, and the finish then being applied, and the point being applied by Conor Lahan. We're seeing a bit of Route 1 hurling there in the last 30 seconds between the two sides.
It's just gas reading Luke's article this morning. He said he's enjoying his hurling no more than ever, and he's playing that way. He looks fresh, he looks alive, his distribution is super, and a great finish from Lahan again.
Is there a feeling, Mark, or am I reading it wrong? Have Midleton gone, I won't say gone back more traditional, but have they toned down the style that we saw in the opening game against Stars?
People are going to say that Ben O'Connor's going to put a running style on the team. I think it's too early to. That takes years to develop. Bernie O'Connor developed the running style at Newtown Shannon, and he did that over years, Colm. So it's really early days. But what you're finding is that the Midleton have a lot of quality hurlers, quality players, and they're going to, you don't want to be taking any responsibility off of any player who has the ball in his hand, and the right thing to do is hit it 70 yards into a fellow who's in a better position. So I think there's too much being played out of the fact that Ben O'Connor is in charge of the team and it's going to be a running style. My own view at the moment is it's a running style if you need to get yourself out of trouble, but it's still, if you have forwards inside, the likes of Lahan, Tommy O'Connell, Luke O'Farrell, if they get enough ball early enough, Colm, they will convert those scores. So don't be messing around with the ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think underage as well. Midleton for the last couple of years have been very, very impressive, and fellas now coming through like, you know, Cormac Bazang and these guys, Tommy O'Connell, Sean O'Leary Hayes, they're all quality players. Couple that then, I suppose, with Ben's influence, and you've got a fairly formidable outfit.
Brian Turnbull was the man that was fouled, and Shane Kingston adding the free there from about 21 yards, which pushing it to 110 to 8 points, as the sun here on our left hand side is shining atop us. Another man that's shining, well, commentators cursing that one. I was going to give Cormac Bosang the credit on that one. Mark Harrington on route one by Mark, dropping it dangerously in, but the Midleton defence are back in force, and it's out with Sean O'Leary Hayes in forced to go long, and drops it. Well done by Killian O'Donovan down there. Super play by O'Donovan down route one as far as Shane Donegan, but no joy for him. Back to Sean O'Leary Hayes. Nice ball by him as far as Pa White. Good turn by White, going right across the field, but wonderful play there by the Douglas defender. Comes out to it, and it's Steve Moylan dropping it around the 21 yard line. They're trying to pick out Donegan more and more often there, but it's Brian Turnbull that has the ball there. Turnbull being held up. An arm around the neck. Was that a charge, or was it a free in, free out?
It wasn't a charge from Turnbull. It was good defending, I thought, from Midleton, that they actually stood him up and they forced him to turn around, and he actually was offloading. And to me, I wouldn't have given a free myself personally, to be honest.
I'll ask an attacker. Shawnee, was that a free?
It wasn't, but you know what? If you're a forward, you'll take it. The last two balls Turnbull got, he's after getting 2 frees. That'll do his confidence no harm at all.
Shane Kingston standing over this one. 1 goal and 10 points to 9 points is the score, with 28 minutes elapsed here in this Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship clash.
Yeah, like what's noticeable there now at the moment is it's kind of Mark Harrington's position. He's playing centre back, and he's getting caught a small bit in no man's position, because Midleton are hitting the ball over his head into the full forward line. And you know, just looking at Alan Cadigan here now, taking on his man, great goal opportunity.
Cadigan from 14 yards. Oh, well held up by the defender, by the full back Owen Maloney, just perfectly positioned, because the goalkeeper was already in mid-flight, but Maloney stopped the danger. Cadigan must have covered about 20 yards there. Lahan screaming for the ball, but interception there by looked to be Owen Cadigan. Eventually it comes to Kingston, being held up there, and on this occasion deemed to have fouled the ball, and it's going to be a free.
Yeah, but that was a good decision. Good decision. Did exactly what you'd expect any defender to do. Stop the run, forced the forward to turn around and go the other way. He held onto the ball too long and was correctly blown for overcarrying. But like, how Midleton are leaving Killian Burke on Alan Cadigan at this stage is incredible, because you know, and I don't want to be too critical on Killian, but like, he hasn't beaten all ends up. And I know Shane Smith probably has his hands full with young Turnbull and stuff like that, but I think, you know, there's just, you know, certainly I say getting to half time that maybe somebody needs to have a word to look, Killian, you either have to play him from the front, because he is under savage pressure at the moment with Alan Cadigan.
Gar Manley missing that opportunity there down at the other end of the field. It's Shane Donegan, this big operator, 6'4". Back to Shane Kingston. Kingston jinking this way and that way, getting it back as far as Owen Dolan, and Dolan from distance. Has he got the accuracy? No, he hasn't. Driven it wide. 110 to 9 points. 30 minutes elapsed, and we're just hearing in the earpiece there there'll be 2 minutes of additional time.
Yeah, you just see there now when Shane Kingston gets the ball, Midleton are swarming him. You know, Douglas have him kind of in centre forward at the moment. You'd wonder, would it just benefit of a small bit of a move for him, just to try and free him up into that kind of, he's in a very congested area at the moment, and you know, I just wonder, would Douglas maybe consider that?
Okay. Hotting up down here in front of us. End result though is going to be sideline to Midleton, and it's Cormac Walsh who's standing over it. That's the operator. Oh, not on this occasion though. Feeding it directly to Cian Baldwin. Baldwin being told to send it in first time, and there's a heavy blow onto the back of Turnbull down there, and the referee is approaching the cornerback Shane Smith, And I'd say
Was that a free mark? Was that a free?
If you're going to ask the forwards now about I would be delighted with Shane Smith the way he tackled for that. But the biggest problem is that he actually went with one hand. If he went with two hands, I thought it would look a lot more legitimate. He actually won the ball.
Or a decapitation.
But the two lads beside me, they often got a few flakes of that, and I can tell you.
Mark makes a great point, because it certainly looked worse than it actually was, and a couple of roars in from the sideline as well too, because you've no crowd. I think Simon Stokes kind of maybe heard that and it might have been influenced, but certainly 50-50.
But I must say credit to Simon Stokes. Again, I think people are very critical and very quick to criticise referees, but Simon tonight, and indeed when we saw him there 2 weeks ago, great, letting the game flow and having the word before producing the card as well. So credit to the match official. Back with the action and back with the effort there, and well taken under the crossbar by Donald Marr. Pa White getting the shot off, but Marr tracking it, and even though it was probably a foot over the bar, managing to get back onto it. It's another number 10 that's on the ball there. It's Owen Dolan, and he was tripped there by Tommy O'Connell.
Colm, I mean that perfectly illustrates the kind of tactics that are going on here tonight. Here you had the right half forward from Douglas back, passing it to Owen Cadigan. Owen Cadigan looked up, and because the Douglas half forward line were so far down the pitch, he had nowhere to hit it. So he actually had to turn back inside and play it back to his wing forward again. And they got the free from the end. But it's after happening now a few times where they've looked up and they've actually had nowhere to clear the ball because they've had no presence up in their wing forward position.
Yeah, and equally you could argue as well too that the Midleton full forward was 50 yards from goal out tackling as well too. Shane Kingston then with the free, and Shane Kingston with the point, and that's pushed it to 110 to 11 points, and surely that will be the last action of this opening half here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh this evening in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship action. We'll be back with analysis, talk and scores from around the grounds in 40 seconds time. Welcome back to Páirc Uí Chaoimh on this beautiful evening here in Cork. It is the Dairy Gold Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship game being live streamed right around the world by the Irish Examiner. Now, it's a big night tonight here for these two teams, but it's a big night for a host of teams in the competition, and Mark has the latest half-time scores from around the grounds.
Yeah, currently at the moment is Blackrock, who are 2-8 to 8 points up against Bishopstown. Glen Rovers are 1-11 to 8 points up against against the PSHC in the Northside Derby. And the Newtown Chandram are 1-11 to Aaron Zones 1-5. And the big result coming from Carrigaline at the moment at half-time is the Bears 1-14, Carrigtool 4 points. So that's the last game is SARS 1-14, Ballyhay 8 points. So nicely poised at the moment. Blackrock, who have a 6-point advantage at the moment. They're in the driving seat. Glen Rovers, have 6 points up as well. So they're actually still level on points at the moment. And SARS, who 9 points. So I suppose it's all to play for still. Like that's
It's intriguing because I think the scoring difference is the exact same as well, is it? Blackrock are plus 16, Midleton plus 16, and both of them are 6 points.
That's right. That's right. And SARS have 9 points onto their 5 at the moment. They're still a nice bit behind. So it's like if SARS want to get through to and just to remind people, there's only one semi-final spot up for grabs tonight. There's going to be 6 teams left in the draw to make it 3 quarter-finals. That makes up the 4 semi-finals. So there's only one semi-final up for grabs. And at the moment, all 3 teams are still in a position for that. But maybe you'd expect SARS would want a few more scores, Kieran. So.
Yeah, I suppose when you have both Glen and Blackrock kind of winning by 6 points. If they push on any bit, it's probably too big of a gap to bridge. But I suppose it just goes to add to the excitement of the whole night tonight. You have so many important games. Also you don't know what kind of wind is a factor in a number of the locations as well too. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on it as the second half progresses, because I think we saw it last night. It's going to come down to the last puck of the game possibly, especially now with Blackrock and the Glen level on scoring difference at the moment.
And just to be clear, like SARS were 11 points behind both the Glen and the Rockies before the action started tonight, so they've clawed back 3 of the points that they need of the 11, so they're going to have to win by at least they have to get 8 more points to actually qualify for the top spot. So we call it the top ranking team that go automatically to the semi-final, and I think Blackrock of all the teams will probably be looking for that, because they have the highest number of dual players from a St. Michael's point of view.
But we'll say with the fact, lads, that matches are coming thick and fast and teams are getting used to building momentum going week to week to week, how important is it to get straight into a semi-final?
I think it's huge. Like no matter what campaign, whether it is into county or club, the least games you can play to win any competition, the better. And particularly now, I suppose, with the dual stuff going on, it adds to it even more. Like listening to Jim Sullivan earlier from Newcestown, like their fixture list seems to be 12 dual players playing in consecutive weeks in the road again in the football next week. So obviously the least number of games you can play, the better. Now, like they've obviously used the last couple of games to build momentum and try the players out and see different players in different positions, but I totally buy into it, Colm. Any team that can go directly into a semi-final tonight, whether it is the Glen, SARS or Blackrock, I'd be going full tilt now for the second half to build up my scoring difference.
And you're obviously going to avoid the possibility of an injury if you have an extra game. But for any team that is playing football, particularly Blackrock, they have 4 starting on the football and they have 9 on the panel altogether. I don't think there's a whole pile of the Glen lads, Shawnee, will be playing football. There'll be a few of them, and obviously then SARS. I don't think there's any of the SARS players are playing football. So that is a key thing. If SARS got through to a semi-final directly tonight, they'd be delighted because they'd have a fortnight to prepare for a semi-final. Okay,
just as well, I'm hearing that this game was the last to start as well too, so there'll be a huge long riding on this as other teams, if scoring differences and everything comes into play. So that's the word, that this was the last of the games to start tonight. The floodlights after coming on here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Let's talk about this game here. What a dream start for Midleton.
Yeah, a very good start. Great goal by Luke O'Farrell so early in the game, and a great score to settle the team down. But the response from Douglas has been fantastic, and they have got some great scores, and particularly Alan Cadigan has been outstanding. He's got 4 points in the first half. Shane Kingston has 4 points from frees. Probably from the SARS, the heights of the SARS game a number of weeks ago where they got 6 points in play. But it's only half time, and good quality players will always find their way back into the game. Colm. Then Midleton, I think, took over and went 4 or 5 points up. But Douglas have had a really good purple patch in the last 4 or 5 minutes before half time. They've got 3 or 4 points to bring the game to 2 points. So the score at the moment is 110 to 11 points. We're actually getting a text in there from a Douglas supporter to say that the score is not showing up on the screen at the moment. So for anybody looking in at the moment, we'll try and we'll continue to give you the score. But I mean, I think it's all to play for. But the two teams are excellent. The quality of it has been very, very good tonight.
Absolutely, and I think Stephen Milan coming into the game towards the end there, he delivered some good ball in. Brian Turnbull won his last 3 balls, one maybe 2 dubious frees, but he still, for his own confidence, didn't do him no harm whatsoever. But Milan around the midfield seems to have got a bit of a stranglehold and seems to be a little bit on top. And Stephen is a good quality player. He had a number of good years with Cork. Fellas like him will always look up and give ball to the best player in the inside position. Cadigan is impressing, and then on the other side, look, Lehan and Luke Farr look really, really sharp. Cormac Bazang is doing well. Tommy O'Connell probably should have gotten a goal. He clipped it over this time last year against Tip in the All-Ireland final, albeit they were well beaten in a similar position. He crashed it in, so looking forward to the second half here now.
Okay, just in case you're wondering there on your screen, the man wearing number 29 isn't a substitute. That's Conor Lehan, who's had a jersey change. So he will be wearing number 29, and confirm as well too, Brian Turnbull and Donica Murphy are the players in for Dylan Ward and Andy O'Connell. Cries from the Midleton that should have been waved wide, but the umpire waving it over. Perfect start, Kieran, for Douglas.
Yeah, a great start for Brian Turnbull as well too. Great ball in from Owen Cadigan. Didn't panic. Kind of just kept pushing the ball in front of him. Played a nice little kind of soft 20-yard ball in front of Brian. Came out, turned over the bar. Good start from him. No.
It was a start that Douglas so badly needed. It's now 110 to 11 points. Douglas on 11 points, and Douglas on the ball there again. It's fallen for Kingston. Has 2 tackles past him. Had Turnbull screaming for it. He didn't need the assistance though from the young gun, and Shane Kingston spiralling that one over. And within a minute of the restart, we've a level game.
All square, yeah, absolutely, and great for Shane Kingston there now. Good quality score for himself. Picked the ball up, took it on 3 or 4 steps, made sure of it, and slapped it over off his right hand side.
Okay, Kingston did ever so well there to intercept the puck out there from the goalkeeper. Loses his hurley, but crucially Douglas have possession, and it's with their wing forward Mark O'Connor. And Mark O'Connor from distance. But Mark O'Connor has driven that one wide. And I'd love to know what was in that Douglas team talk at half time, lads.
They've upped the ante. The 2 Cadigans in particular are showing great leadership. We haven't mentioned much of Owen so far, but he had a good combative first half. He gave a great ball into Turnbull. Cadigan has after given a great ball in for a score to Shane Kingston got an end of, and Cadigan has just won another free now. So both Cadigans have started the game at 100 miles an hour. The second half, sorry.
It's Shane Kingston who's going to hopefully, if you're a Douglas fan, profit from that free just awarded there.
Yeah, I think Midleton have completely gone out of the game. You know, with 5 minutes left in the first half, they were 6 points up. Now Douglas have a free here to go a point up, 7 points on the trot. Midleton haven't responded. Midleton just need to get a score here now, settle the ship, get the ball into their full forward line. They haven't got the ball past the Douglas half back line yet in the second half.
Fair to say, I'd say that's the first time that Douglas have led in the game here tonight.
Yes, you're dead right, and what Kieran's saying is 100% correct. They just need to get, they probably need to get on the ball maybe in the middle of the field a bit more. Cormac Welch and Sam Quirk have probably gone out of the game, and like Tommy O'Connell, it looks very, very good when he gets an opportunity, but again he's been playing in a withdrawal role, probably as a second centre forward. But the ball just isn't coming in fast enough from the middle and half back line in midfield.
Okay, just off screen there, the Douglas for forward Shane Dunnigan crashing into Joe Loftus as he was making the clearance there, and the referee awarding a free from where the ball landed, and that's the reason that you're seeing Conor Lahan, the man wearing number 29, as I said, is after just punting that point over, and it's back to a drawn game again. And forward out there by Sean O'Leary-Hayes, well tracked by Kingston. So back all the way back to another centre back, to Mark Harrington. Harrington opting to go across, but Lahan read the intentions very well, as Brian Turnbull was the intended recipient, but he's hooked, and back come Douglas there. Then forward along the ground, Kingston getting it, but Pa White coming back to show his defence how it's done. First time ball by White down as far as looks to be Luke O'Farrell on this occasion, off his shoulder. That'll be some effort by him, and no, tracked across and went a few yards wide.
Yeah, and a point that I think that Midleton would have badly needed. Cullum as well, very good ball in from Pa White into the corner. Luke won it. It did come around Donegal Murphy to make a better angle for himself, but unfortunately trailed off wide.
Booming clearance yet again by Donald Marr. It's an impressive puck of a ball, I must say, and it's Douglas who are benefiting all the way out as far as Kingston. Saw the tackle coming, took the step to the side and scores the point.
That's a great score, but I just remarked just before half time the influence of Stephen Moylan. He's not doing anything terribly noticeable. They're just small little balls, little flicks, and he was at the centre of that score again there on a great finish from Kingston.
Great play there by Owen Dolan, as the hand was lurking under that one. Foot race going to be won there by the defender, by Shayna Smith. Picked up that card a little earlier, as far as Cormac Walsh. Bit of pace in it, but well taken. Great flick away there by the wing back by Cadigan, who in turn, there's another flick away by Pa White. It's going to be sidelined to Douglas. Some lovely skills on show down there.
That was class play there now by Owen Cadigan. You know, he used the sideline there. He showed the Midleton player to the side, and when he threw up the ball, he just flicked it away from him. Good experience there now, and a good coaching point for any young fella watching that there, how to use the sideline as your friend. I'm sure Mark would would agree with that.
Absolutely, Kieran. As a defender, you'd be always trying to tighten the angle for any forward, and show him down the blind side is the best thing to do, and keep him away from going to the centre so he can make himself a better angle.
Great strike by Kingston. Had probably too much pace, too much power on it, and it's gone out over the end line. Goalkeeper taking the puck out far too quickly, and the only man that was alerted was the Douglas wing forward, Owen Dolan. Takes a blow back as far as Turnbull turning inside, and the shot being taken off in the end by Mark O'Connor. And O'Connor has driven that one wide. That's two back-to-back wides by the
it is very noticeable that Douglas have got a stranglehold in the game at this moment in time. Like, it's 111 to 15 points now. There's still only a point in it, but they have dominated the last 5 minutes, as the lad said before half time, and they dominated the first 7 minutes of the second half. And you know, Midleton just need to get a grab hold around the half forward line in particular, and to get Tommy O'Connell on the ball.
Interestingly, Loftus going a bit longer on that occasion, and it's working out well. It's Cormac Walsh that's on the ball, and Cormac Walsh getting the shot off, and despite the giant leap from Donal Maher, he stopped one going over the crossbar a little earlier. No joy there, and that's a point for Midleton.
Great scorer, Cormac. Yeah, he's been an integral player for Midleton over the years, a minor as well in 2011. I always felt that Cormac had a little bit in. He might have been potentially pushing on for Cork. It hasn't happened for him, but from a club perspective, he's been excellent, and that was a great score, great leadership there, in fairness.
Owen Dolan doing ever so well, working it across as far as Steve Moylan. Douglas going all the way back as far as Cillian O'Donovan, who's trying to switch play, and it's bouncing around there, and Shayna Smith, despite a tackle coming in, and it is going to be a free out, Alan Cadigan coming in on top of the cornerback, and there was a clash, and rightly so, a free out, and the goalkeeper Joe Loftus says, leave it to me, I'll take charge of this one. And you'd be expecting Loftus could potentially be dropping this inside the 14 yard on the far side if he goes that route, but instead it's taken there by Douglas defender.
But it was uncontested, Cullen, which is the worst part of it. You know, when you leave Mark Harrington loose like that, and nobody's pulling, and if you're only just breaking the ball, you could have a good day's work done.
Just bounced away there from Alan Cadigan for 1 second. It looked like he was going to gain possession, but bounced away from him. And Midleton are coming out here in front of us with Cormac Bosang. Played by Bosang. Oh, big heavy shoulder there from Mark O'Connor. Puts him on his backside. And a little tap in the back then afterwards. Cillian O'Donovan trying to pick out Kingston. No joy there. Another hefty shoulder from Kingston and Shayna Smith. And the cornerback does ever so well there as he's pumping it down there on top of Luke O'Farrell. Space opening up for O'Farrell. He's got a man inside him if he opts to go across. But still O'Farrell, instead he's opting to go back to his full forward to Tommy O'Connell, who in turn was trying to pick out the run of Pa White. But Douglas bringing back the reinforcements, and there's a touch on the ground.
Yeah, but it's great defending by Douglas, and there was definitely a goal scoring opportunity. But we go back to the first half where Tommy O'Connell knocked the ball over the bar, should have went into Garen Manley. Luke O'Farrell got the ball. Now, probably Donnchadh Murphy did impede him slightly, but again Manley was free. Bob Harris should have come across and goal opportunity. But the big thing here is that the ball has been turned over now, and you know the ball had broken out to Tommy O'Connell. He got a couple of chances to get it in his hand, failed to pick it up, and then gave away a free for touching the ball on the ground. Big turnover there in that passage of play.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Luke definitely has the advantage over Donnchadh Murphy in the air. I think there's 4 balls got in there now, and Luke's got possession each time. He has looked dangerous, but I've just felt in that opportunity, once he got away from him, Manley was free, and he just could have maybe hit a 10-15 yard ball across him to hand, and there was a goal on.
Great ball by Cillian O'Donovan to pick out Turnbull's run. Oh, great piece of fielding there by the big full forward by Shane Donegan. Ground opening up for Donegan. Still Donegan off the left. Oh, great save by the goalkeeper. But it was like the Red Sea part.
Yeah, but fantastic. You know, fair play. I mean, Donegan took on the ball, and that's exactly what you want out of your forwards. But I suppose if I was a forward, you don't go to the keeper's side where he has the hurley. He should have went across the keeper into the far side and forced the keeper to switch his hands over, and he should have went for the far corner corner. But look, in the context of the thing, you know, brilliant that he got through, got the goal scoring opportunity, but Loftus stood up to the save and made a fantastic save. And you know, the game is still going to be level at 112 and 15 points, but I mean, it was a big opportunity. But then, Colin, what we see now is the game is flip-flop because Midleton got an opportunity a while ago and Douglas have got an opportunity. Neither got the goal that they so deeply require.
Well, will they be getting a point out of the effort anyway from Shane Kingston from the resultant 65, and indeed Kingston doing just that. And it's pushing it out to Douglas to 16 points, and it's Midleton 1 goal and 12.
Yeah, and the quality of free taking 65. So I don't know is there any wide yet mark from that perspective, but Shane Kingston and Conor Lehan from the free taking perspectives are doing really, really well. And anyone will tell you to win any big game you need your free taker on form. So again, from a Cork perspective, always come back to the Cork scene, but you know the shooting has been superb of a very high quality.
Owen Cadigan, what a wonderful ball by Cadigan to pick out the full forward, who in turn offloads it. On this occasion he showed his pace.
Tell you what, that Donegan is something tougher, isn't it?
And instead he had Shane Kingston right on his shoulder, and great foresight, it has to be said, by Donegan on that occasion.
Yeah, you know, we spoke about it in the first half. They brought down, you know, out centre forward, and they just let Shane Kingston kind of roam wherever he kind of wants and find the space. And that's what you need to do with Shane. Just give him those balls, because he's so accurate. He will pop those balls over when he gets the opportunity. And he's in 30-yard space here now if Owen Cadigan can find him.
Owen Dolan is the man that's delivering the pass there. He's almost slotting back as an auxiliary defender at the moment. Turnbull off his left, and that is a great score. He gives a little fist pump as well too after.
Second point now. Yeah, he's definitely come to form towards the end, the last 10 minutes of the first half, and this, you know, first 10-15 minutes of the second half, he's been electrifying. Yeah, great score there.
Midleton are trying to slow down the game here now.
I don't know, Kieran, I haven't seen it, but Sean O'Leary Hayes is holding his face, his helmet is off. Maybe it is a tactic and stuff for that to kill the game, but I don't know. We certainly didn't see anything, but we just have to wait and see. He's still holding his forehead. Mike Thompson, the doctor, is in now to see is he okay, but you know, it might have just been a clash of heads or something there. But again, it is noticeable that Douglas seem to be making the breaks at this for the last 15 minutes, and they're well on top at the moment.
Yeah, and just back to Fraggy's point in the first half about they were bypassing Harrington and maybe on Cadigan a little bit. That half back line has stayed steadfast. They've stayed in their positions. Lehan's movement isn't as good as it was in the first half, and both Harrington and Owen Cadigan, our side here, have been very, very good this second half so far. Great
play there by Brian O'Neill. I think it was in the end. No, it wasn't. It was one of the other Douglas defenders. We'll see who it was there in a second, but just saw the danger. It was Steve Moylan actually saw the danger and just positioned the body to stop the Midleton player from running onto it, and they won the sideline, but they've wasted the opportunity, and it's Pa White who's after getting the shot off, and that's a good score, as he was taking a heavy blow as he released the shot.
Yeah, and just some scores that are coming in, Colm, at the moment. The Rockies are 212 to 13 points up. Glen Rovers are 115 to 9 points, and Sars are 219 to 113. So at the moment, it would look like the Glen are in the number one ranking position at the moment.
Might not be pretty down there in the corner as the ball has gone to ground, but in the end, it's Garen Manley who got on it, but seems to have stepped out over the sideline as he got the ball back as far as Conor Lehan, but was deemed to have crossed the line there, and that's a let off for Douglas. 1 goal and 13 points to Midleton 16 points, and it's Douglas 18 points with close on 45 minutes elapsed. So we'll be having our water break there in a few moments time. Interesting to see if one of the teams can manufacture a morale boosting score just before we break for the Ishka. The two 10s coming together there. Eventually it's Sam Quirk that gets it out. Looked to be Cadigan that stopped the pass in the end, but Cadigan and the Midleton Cormac Bosang, like two stags rutting, I think is the phrase.
They're two very competitive players. I mean, we know Owen for years, to be fair, how the competitive nature he has. But Cormac Bosang is now a shrinking violet island now, and that was good, decent shouldering going on there, and probably just rightly so a free in for Midleton.
Conor Lahan who's going to take this one, but Conor Lahan has misjudged the angle, I think, on that. No, he hasn't. It didn't look to be good from our perspective here. And
Hawkeye,
Douglas
I think, Colin.
Hawkeye. I see Mark O'Callaghan down there on the sideline is incensed. He's telling the linesman, surely you saw that was wide. I must say, from our perspective here, it did look to have trailed wide.
I would have thought so, Colin.
Yes.
I put the jinx in it, just saying in advance that the free take was of a very high quality, but definitely it looked like Conor went to the far right post and it drifted out.
Yeah, I think you can even see the reaction from the Douglas players. They were straight over appealing it. You know, we had the perfect view here. It certainly looked like it tailed wild, but Simon Stokes seems to be writing down the score here anyway, and it's counted. And how important could that be at the end of this night?
Yeah, it could have a massive bearing in it, to be honest with it, but it doesn't seem like the score has gone up on the board. Simon Stokes hasn't gone into the umpire. I mean, he was spoken, his linesman has spoken, and I think they're probably still discussing it now, but he hasn't gone into the umpires, which I think is a bit strange. There's a Douglas meant to going to go out now and get clarification whether it is a point or not, but it has gone up, so
he signalled it's a point.
It looks as though he's signalling it as a point, so could have a big bearing in who goes forward, Colin, at the end of this day.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of people rewinding the feed of our Co-op Superstores live stream here tonight to have another look at that. But as I said, from our vantage point now, admittedly we're 70 yards away, but it looked like it had just trailed a couple of feet wide of the post. Bars 120, Carrick 7 points is the score that I'm just getting there as we're chatting.
That's a big result for St. Finbarrs now. That takes them out of the relegation situation, because at the moment Ballyhay are being beaten and Bishopstown are being beaten, but that game with Bishopstown and Blackrock isn't over yet, so but it would look like at the moment that the Bars are safe.
Everything in sport is about momentum, but the water breaks have gotten a little bit of criticism of late, so it'll be interesting to see if the momentum Douglas built up in that first 15 minutes now can be quelled a bit by Midleton.
So we're done the final stretch, and again, just to remind you, in this game here tonight, the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship, with thanks to the Co-op Superstores, this was the last of the games to start tonight. So we will have full times from all the other games in the final few moments, and then we will have to wait. And as we said, we have all sorts of permutations, and who knows if that ghost point could prove very, very important later on tonight. Shane Kingston driving the ball wide there, and as we said, now we're down the final 15 minutes, and it's fighting for their championship lives. It's with the corner forward down there, Luke O'Farrell. Still Luke O'Farrell being held up, going backwards to his wing forward, and a shot out of nothing from Pa White from about 15 yards, and it whizzes over the crossbar.
Super score. Pa White's played well so far in this campaign for Midleton in the games today, and that was a great score off the ground. Fantastic strike. Yeah,
and credit Tommy O'Connell again. That's the second puck out now he's after winning at an important stage. You know, the last time both times he didn't score himself, but scores came from him winning possession straight from the puck out, and that's great credit due to Tommy O'Connell.
Powerful puck out again by Donald Marr that has worked so well for Douglas, that long delivery, but Midleton seemed to be copping on to that fact, and did ever so well there. Shane Smith putting himself under massive pressure and trying to keep the ball in, manages to spill it out, and it's a sideline there which Shane Kingston is one.
Yeah, but Shane Smith and Brian Turnbull have had a fantastic duel so far this evening. I know Turnbull has 2 points in play, but Shane Smith has dispossessed them on a good number of occasions, cleared a lot of ball from Midleton, and he's been very, very tough in the cornerback position.
Shane Kingston taking plenty of time over there. Looks like a man that was lining up a putt to win the Open. Here comes Kingston, and Kingston has driven that one wide. Quick puck out by the goalkeeper. Lovely piece of skill there by Lahan to flick it over the oncoming defender, but he meets Owen Cadigan, and there was only going to be one winner there, as Cadigan also knocks Sam Quirk out of the equation, going back to Killian O'Donovan, who's gone route one there in towards Alan Cadigan, and Alan Cadigan off his left has dropped it over the bar, and that's manufactured in the Cadigan household.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, it was a big score to Conor Lahan. I know he'd flicked the ball over, but he gave the possession away because he didn't win it afterwards, and Alan Cadigan did fierce well after receiving the ball in from Owen.
And credit to Owen, as I said, to dispossess Lahan, and then, as I said, had Sam Quirk, who's actually still down on his haunches there after taking a blow from the defender.
Yeah, Colin, I think you mentioned it in the first half. Credit Simon Stokes as well too. He's leaving things go. You know, he's being consistent, which is what you want from a referee, and it's certainly added to the game.
Oh, is that some great piece of skill there by Lahan again, trying to flick it up not once, not twice, but again just failing down the final stretch there. And it's Douglas who are gratefully taking the ball back. Looks to be Mark Harrington down there going out as far as Killian O'Donovan. He's wing back who scored those 2 wonder scores in the first half. Great delivery by him, making the midfielders work, and a great interplay there between Moylan and Cian Baldwin. Baldwin getting the shot off, was aiming in towards the corner, has overshot the runway. It doesn't matter when you've got Callaghan lurking inside there. He's gone route 1 in towards the full forward. Donegan bounces off of him, and Midleton regrouping and coming out at speed. Man in possession there is Sean O'Leary Hayes, back from his blow to the face a few moments ago, but that should be meat and potatoes there for Callaghan, who's gone out as far as Clint O'Donovan. Kills the ball perfectly. O'Donovan has shown what he can do from distance, but he's swallowed up by 2 men on that occasion. One of those was Cormac Bosang, and there was a bit of afters there between O'Donovan and
a correct free, I think, given there. But we had a lovely passage of play there from Sean O'Leary Hayes out to young Sam Quirk and back to Sean O'Leary Hayes. And you know, young Sam Quirk is only, I think, 19 years of age, out of Midland CBS, and he has quitted himself quite well in the middle of the field this evening.
8 minutes remaining. It's 1:15 to Midleton. Douglas at 19 points, and it's Conor Lahan just inside the halfway line mark, but right out in the sideline. It's going to be a test for him, is it? Well, when you're
That's
Conor
a great
Lahan,
score, in fairness.
these
Great
things
leadership.
are welcome challenges, aren't they?
It was a great score, but what noticeable as well is how well Owen Callaghan is playing. There was an opportunity last year a while ago from Killian Donovan, who was hitting some great long balls in the first half, but he was dispossessed and he didn't do great after Callaghan cut out a Midleton attack quite easily.
I know there's only 8 minutes left in the game, but the key thing here as well is that a draw actually will do Midleton to get through, because they're level in points with Douglas and they have a better scoring difference. So they have 2 results running for them. A draw or a win will get them through. So Douglas have to win to get through.
Huge delivery all the way down there, and the man that's under it is Turnbull, but 2 defenders eventually blocking him, but can only get it out as far as the wing forward. And great play back there, and it's Shayna Smith pinballs around, forced to go backwards, but well cleared out there. I think Owen Maloney getting the clearance in the end. Down as far as Callaghan yet again takes a high shoulder there. Callaghan is kind of floating right across that half.
He's having a stormer.
Owen Callaghan has been outstanding for Douglas this evening. Right through the whole game, he has been outstanding.
Jake Hegarty is in instead of Cormac Walsh in the Midleton lineup. Let's back with the action and the shot that's come off there, and that's another point for Douglas, and how valuable that could be, as we said, when all the facts and figures are assembled a little later. Turnbull, by the way, was the man who got the shot off. It's another 20 there down on the far side of the field for Midleton. Sean O'Mara. Brian O'Neill requiring a bit of help from Conor Kingston. Calls for steps, but managed to get it out there, and it's kind of bounced up, and it's bounced into Conor Lahan. Lahan on the 21, and Lahan off his left, and Lahan with the point.
Yeah, Lahan has finished it, but Sam Quirk did absolutely brilliant. A brilliant bit of skill. You know, he competed for the ball, and great refereeing as well from Simon Stokes, because you were shouting for a slap of the hurley, but it wasn't. It actually was the skill to flick the ball up, got it into his hand, laid it off to Lahan. Fantastic from Sam Quirk.
Super, and in fairness, Mark, just in advance of it, the pressure that was put on the defence, the Douglas defence from the Midleton attackers, caused maybe the little error you could call it that led to Sam intercepting. So great defensive attacking play, if all that makes sense, from the middle attack.
It means it's a drawn game, 117 to 20 points with 55 minutes elapsed in this Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship game with thanks to the Co-op Superstores, to Jim Wolfe and all the team up in Derrygold for helping us in the Irish Examiner bring you this game free of charge right around the world. And again, we are so conscious and I suppose accepting how lucky we are to be here tonight and able to bring games to so many people that simply cannot be here because of the coronavirus situation. The puck there was from Cadigan. That is an incredible score. We've been mentioning another Cadigan and his incredible scores, but this time it's the big brother Owen.
Yeah, a fantastic score, but it was made out of the pressure that the Douglas forwards put on the Midleton defence, that the clearance wasn't long, it was hit to a loose Owen Cadigan and he delivered from about 90 yards. Fantastic score to put him a point up.
Rodrigo Farrell is the man on the ball, had a runner inside him, opted to go long, but well cut out by Killian O'Donovan, but it breaks down and it's Midleton with their corner forward Luke O'Farrell. O'Farrell leading them all on a merry dance. Is he going to make space for himself? Yes, he is. Is he going to get a point? The answer is in the affirmative.
Great play. He's like a fellow with a new lease of life, Luke O'Farrell. Great patient play on his kind of weaker right side. Checked back and got a great score.
Speedy puck out there, and it's worked its way all the way down to Brian Turnbull. This man has been so hungry for work tonight, and this man is after getting another fine score. Is that 4 points?
4 points in the second half. He's had a great second half, in fairness. Some good quality ball out of the defence straight into his hand. Probably first time that Shaney Smith hasn't actually competed with him in the air, but Turnbull has got 4 magnificent scores in the second half and is lit up this evening.
Great credit to Donald Maher too for the awareness of getting the quick puck out after the concession of that score. It looks like another concession of another score. Is it there from Luke O'Farrell? The body language was all wrong from O'Farrell the second that it had left him.
But he should have steadied himself, Cullum, like, do you know what I mean? He was out in front of his man. He had 3 or 4 yards on Donald Murphy and he elected to shoot over his shoulder. I mean, you look at the difference at Turnbull, that he won the ball, he looked up and popped the ball over the bar.
Since you're watching the clock ticking down though, 22 points to Douglas. It's 1 goal and 18 to Midleton. All to play for. Hefty shoulder being taken there by Cormac Bosang. Still manages to stay on his feet back as far as Sean O'Leary Hayes. There's a lot of time in his hands there, dropping it down. There's 3 Douglas men under it, but it's going to be a Midleton man that's eventually going to get the ball. It's the man wearing number 20, Sean O'Leary.
Great spot there from Simon Lee. He caught the ball 3 times. Often that's kind of let go. I suppose just to bring people up to date, Blackrock are 3-15, Bishopstown 18 points in the race for first place. Bishopstown after getting a few points back there now, so all the games are really coming down to the wire.
I'd say we will be getting a few full times in a few moments' time. As this was the last game to get underway tonight in the Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship. It's Midleton v Douglas being brought to you on the Irish Examiner's live stream around the world. I'd love to get in touch with us wherever you're watching. Send us your thoughts, and if you are into all that newfangled technology that Shawnee was talking about earlier, let us know. So it's Jake Hagerty gone wide out as far as Lahan blocking it there. Race is on as Luke O'Farrell is going to try and keep it in, but looks to be Cadigan down there. It would have been a 65 almost if Luke had left it off, because Douglas player had touched it. Mark Harrington opting to come out here in front of us. Tracking back was Owen Dolan. Great ball by him in as far as Turnbull has a runner inside him. Just overcooked the pass as far as Andy O'Connell. And referee spotting something there. It's going to be a free to Midleton.
Brian Turnbull, he's been playing so well. You just would have liked to see him back himself there. I know there was a man off the shoulder.
The pass even,
if he did pass it, which he did, it needed to go to hand, but he's been destroying his man here in the second half. Take him on every time he's done it. Something positive has happened, and here we have Owen Cadigan again reading the play, but it's gone over the sideline.
There was nothing. There was he pucked the ball straight out over the sideline, over the far side. With 60 minutes on the clock, and at the point of the game, it was hit to nobody. It's incredible that actually one of the defenders didn't take the ball and take a free, or else leave it to Conor Lahan.
We've just been told 3 minutes of additional time, so 60 minutes elapsed here. It's Midleton 1 goal and 18 points, Douglas 22 points. The lads are watching the phones as full time's coming in from around the grounds, and we'll keep you updated on that, and then we'll be producing our tables, and the calculators and everything will be out in force. It's Douglas who are out in force at the moment with Alan Cadigan. Oh, that's a wonderful block down there by the cornerback on top of him. Killian Birkin did ever so well to feed off Conor Lahan. Lahan trying to make space for himself and trying to produce an equaliser. Douglas doing ever so well not to foul the attacker. There's 3 of them in there. The ball has gone to ground. Referee Stokes is, to be fair, letting play develop, and it's developing in as far as Midleton. The shot that came off there was from Sam Cork, I think. A referee eventually having to get involved and to step in.
Well, this is massive now. This is actually really what all the supporters and the people watching you want to see tonight. The bases are loaded. Middle are a point down. A draw will do them to get through. They had possession, but the Douglas defence weren't going to give anything up easy, and they've turned over the ball. Magnificent defending by Douglas.
Magnificent play. Cadigan back to his goalkeeper, to Donald Maher, who in turn finds Killian O'Donovan, and O'Donovan launching it down there, but can only find James Nagel. He's opposite number 7, who in turn is freeing it up as far as Sean O'Mara. O'Mara, the shot is dropping in on top of the goalkeeper, and it's gone wide. How did that happen?
Well, he's elected to wave it as a wide ball. But again, to reiterate, a draw will do Midleton to get through. There's
90 seconds left.
Yeah, 90 seconds left, Colm, and it's anybody's game still. But a cool head is required. 1 ball into the middle and forward now. Forward line is what's required.
Cool head there, and that head was from Cadigan, and the ball trickling there. But somehow Owen Maloney, as it bounced up, looked like he'd lost possession there, but managed to back himself out as far as Sean O'Leary Hayes. Hayes going short. They're going to try and work something out here. It's with Pádraig O'Farrell. Takes a heavy shoulder. O'Farrell back, manages to get back the ball back, and it's Midleton are coming down the far side of that field. Again, 3 defenders going up for it. One of them though manages to cool up the danger, and that's going to be a massive left off. And the key thing is that they've retained possession, and they're here in front of us, right in front of the stand with Shane Kingston, and Kingston showing a superb burst of pace there. Still Kingston, the shot from Kingston, but that one has trailed about 6 yards wide as we're entering the last 30 seconds.
Midleton have to win the puck out, Colm, now if they're going to get a result here this evening. They need to get the shooters on the ball, whatever happens. They need to get a Tommy O'Connell, a Luke Farrell, or a Canan Lahan on the ball. And this free is too far out now. He's not going to score us from there unless we have a really, really long bases are loaded now. Colin Lahan is coming to score 100 yards, lads.
Yeah.
Is it within his distance? Is it outside his distance?
I would say just outside, but let's see.
Yeah, he won't be far off it. He's after robbing a yard there, which could be crucial. The Douglas bench here are absolutely roaring at that. The same linesman who said that the goal point was over.
There's no Midleton player inside the full inside the square now at this stage.
Here comes the effort from Lahan. We're going over the 3 minutes. It's going to drop in and around the square. Up they go for it. Where's this ball going to end up? It's going to end up in a Douglas hand. It's going to come out in front of us here. And is that the full-time whistle? It is. It is. Douglas have beaten Midleton 22 points to 1 goal and 18, and an incredible finish in this Co-op Superstores Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship clash here this evening. We're going to have analysis. We're going to have a call around the grounds. All of that is going to be coming in about 40 seconds time. Come straight to Mark. The lads aren't done anyway. phone there, just checking on the full times there.
Well, and it's
Just like these fucking fun.
250, 180. Who down do you want to draw? I was on Midleton.
Good draw.
So 463. That's going
Well, you're welcome back. We're just after moving positions here. We're waiting on full
tables,
time coming in from around the grounds. The lads are punching some of the numbers there, and some incredible score lines coming in, lads.
Yeah, Shawnee just saying that the scoreline and the game isn't over at the moment. Is that Airnzone and Newtown is level at the moment, a bit similar to what we've seen here tonight, Colm. You know, winner takes all match at the very end, and whoever gets through there. I've checked the tables and the scoring difference.
What a finish there. People, I suppose, have questioned Douglas's part in the past. I think they proved and silenced an awful lot of doubters with the last 10 minutes there.
Yeah, certainly. I think I think Mark said it earlier that a lot of their dual players kind of focused on hurling this year, and you could really see it there now. You know, you could see the kind of bond and the spirit that maybe, possibly had been missing the last few years there, and the celebrations there at half time, what it meant when they were fighting for that ball that they thought was wide. And you look at their big players, Owen Cadigan was immense tonight. He was absolutely incredible. Alan Cadigan was brilliant. Shane Kingston in the second half was excellent, and Brian Turnbull, for a young fella, pitched in with 4 points, just back from a hamstring injury. You could see him there in the first half. He was probably a bit wary of it and was kind of feeling his way into the game, but all their big players really stood up tonight. And then you throw the likes of Steve Moylan and Conor Kingston into it as well too, who are great club players, and they'll take a lot of heart and confidence from this performance, because I really thought that they were very good against Stars as well too, and a big win against Midleton here. They'll be a force yet in this championship, because they will take a lot of confidence from this performance tonight.
Yeah, go along with everything Fraggy said there. Again, going back to the likes of Conor Kingston, what they seem to have done as well is looked at players and maybe put them in positions that maybe the general punter out there that's not in the club wouldn't be familiar with them in, say. So I've never seen Conor Kingston playing full back in my life. I've seen him out the field, around midfield. Didn't know whole point, to be honest, about Sam Donegan, but he was a revelation full forward. So there was players like that maybe aren't as limelighty maybe as the other fellas, the Cadigans and the Kingstons and the Turnbulls. They were a revelation. They Trojan were called out.
And crucially there, on mention of Conor Kingston, had the awareness to commit the foul right there, knowing it was going to be the last puck of the game, and it was beyond the range of one of the greatest free takers in the county.
Yeah, I mean, even if he left him go an extra kind of 5-6 yards, I mean, Conor Lehan landed it inside the edge of the square. But as I said, it's just a small bit of kind of cuteness and that experience, and it was ultimately the difference between Douglas progressing and not progressing, because as Mark kept saying during the second half, a draw would have done Midleton, and they would have expected Conor Lehan, if that was another kind of 5, even 10 yards up further, you would have fancied Conor Lehan to put it over. But the fact that it was so far out in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, it was just a little bit too much of an ask to try and get it over.
Okay, from a Midleton perspective, having the dream start, where did it all go wrong?
I think in the second half they lacked fierce zip. I mean, Conor Lehan was playing off Mark Harrington and going out the field looking for ball. He lacked a little bit of energy, to be honest, in the second half. I'm a huge fan. I think he's a fabulous hurler and Cork need him, but he just lacked a little bit of zip. Luke O'Farrell, while he's still threatening in the second half, he wasn't as sharp in that second half. And I suppose, look, the big players that you wanted to stand up for Midleton didn't really stand up to the same degree as Douglas did. And tactics, okay, I suppose from a Douglas perspective, they continued to try and find the guys inside, while Cadigan was doing damage in the first half. Brian Turnbull then did the damage in the second half. So I think Douglas stuck to their guns. They stayed steadfast and they kept their half back line good and solid. They didn't get drawn up the field. That paid dividends in the second half, because Harrington and Owen Cadigan came into play, and then Brian Turnbull's performance in the second half was superb. So it was a culmination of that, and I think Midleton just lacking a little bit of zip and energy and a little bit of focus in that second half.
Okay, Mark, you've been scribbling.
Yeah, sorry, it might feel as though I'm ignoring you and stuff, but that, like, but the scores are coming in thick and fast. We still don't have an update from the game between Ayrnzone and Newtown Chandler, but if that finishes a draw, Ayrnzone will go through on the fact that they have a better scoring difference. So that's still a massive score, or a massive game that's we still don't have a result there. Blackrock had a big win. They scored 4-15 to 18 points, so that probably means that Bishopstown are in the relegation final along with Ballyhay. We don't have a final result in either from the SARS game yet, but SARS were comfortable at that stage. And this was the big game, is that the Bears have actually have had a comprehensive victory over Carricktool, so they're out of the relegation column. That's the information that we have at this moment in time.
Okay, in terms of the Bars, you mentioned it there, Sean, tradition and everything like that, to find themselves in the position they were, and I know that there's so much talk about what was going on and wasn't going on and everything like that, but a huge result for them tonight.
Yeah, and look, they've just had a disappointing year. I mean, I've been in plenty of games in my club. I played in the Naughties when we were not going well, and we went through a huge barren period before we won our county, and I played in the game in 2005 at my club, and we were just in the doldrums, and if the relegation thing had been in that time, I'm sure we would have gone down. It just happens. They've gone through a very, very bad year. No, to be fair to them, they showed plenty of courage, and they've played a couple of minors. I think Jack Cahalan has had a good year, and Ethan Toomey was excellent for the minors last year and is still a minor this year in the club scene and has played some good hurling. So they've shown plenty of courage from that point of view, and it's huge for the club. It's huge for them to get their 2 points and stay up. Now, that's nothing against the other teams. Carricktool will stay below, It's not all about traditional teams either. You're out there in Mirror and you have to do your stuff, but for the club it's a massive win, and they'll get plenty of encouragement from it. And look, they've just gone through a bad period, and their minors are playing against the Glen in a week's time, Wednesday week. There's plenty coming through. They have plenty of great talent and great young players coming through that'll eventually become great senior players, but just at the moment they seem to be going through a small bit of a lull period.
Yeah, and the Bears, they have that dual issue as well too, and they're not only competing with the Bears senior football team who are contenders for the county, so it's not as if you're going to be getting any leeway off them, but they also have the Castlehaven senior football team as well too. So you have the three Cahalans who are so important to the Bears senior hurling team, and you're trying to juggle all those kind of schedules together. Shawnee said there they have a minor semi-final against the Glen out in Cork, and if you could have crowds in that game, you would have 500-600 people minimum there. I mean, that's going to be a cracker of a game. The Bears have some great young fellas coming up this year. Look, it didn't work out for them. They took a heavy defeat here to the Glen the first day, probably knocked a lot of confidence out of them. But they came back today and they probably just showed the quality that they have in the team. That you don't become a bad team overnight. It just didn't happen for them. Obviously, there's a lot going on, but they've kind of gathered themselves, and they've obviously put in a great performance there now this evening, and that's a great result, and they'll take confidence even into the minor game against Glen in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, Mark, you're crunching again.
Yeah, the big news coming from Glentown, Colm, is that Newtown Chandler led by a goal with time up, and Ayrnzone got a goal late on to draw the game, which has put Ayrnzone through on a better scoring difference. So that is a massive result. We have a final score coming in, I think, from SARS. SARS has scored 220, I think, to about 112 or 114. So it's either the Glen or SARS have the top score, because we know that the Glen have a better scoring difference than Blackrock. So it's just to get the final score from the SARS game at the moment. So it'll be either SARS or Glen Rovers for the top ranked team and straight into the semi-final.
Okay, now we mentioned there, you were talking about the minor match there, and we're talking about Brian Turnbull and young players. Kieran Kingston, as he's been looking at the championships right over the last number of weeks, I'm sure he's got his eyes out, and you're probably taking notes and everything like that. Are there names in the frame that we wouldn't have known about a couple of weeks ago?
I think so. I mean, well, I suppose people within the county would know them. They mightn't be that well known outside the county yet, but I think from last year's under 20 we did contest in our final, Colm, and okay, we were heavily beaten by Tipperary, but we got there. We probably should have beaten them in the Munster final, so we've plenty of talent coming through. So some of those guys that have been to the fore so far this year are the likes of James Keating, I think, Owen McCarthy, Shane Barrett, Sean O'Leary Hayes, who was on show tonight, Tommy O'Connell. They've all had very good campaigns, and then you've got fellas from the minor ranks and that are playing our grades below senior, that might be playing intermediate or intermediate ordinary, whatever it's called. So you've got fellas like Kieran Joyce down in Castlemartyr, Paul O'Riordan inside in Tracton. I mentioned Jack Cahalan and Ethan Toomey. The Glen gave Luke Horgan a debut a couple of weeks ago, and Fraggy will know him well, Daniel Hogan below in SARS. They're all super players. And then other players, I suppose, that have done well. Again, Fraggy will know the likes of James Sweeney, a big, rangy full forward that's been scoring well for SARS. So I think as a campaign to date, there have been plenty of players put their hand up, put themselves in the spotlight. Whether they'll be brought into the panel yet, they might be on the training panel at the moment, I don't know, but I think it's been a very, very good campaign, and there's been plenty of names have put themselves out there to be in the reckoning in the future for sure anyway.
You'd agree with that, Kieran?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you saw it there tonight. I know they were on the kind of losing side, but Sean O'Leary Hayes, he had a great first half there. He was man marking Shane Kingston, and Shane was quiet in the first half. Obviously, he powered it into it in the second half, but he was probably more given a free role in the second half. You've Tommy O'Connell. You still had a lot of young guys who were on the panel over the last kind of couple of years. It was probably just too early for them. It was more for a kind of a developmental purpose that they were there. The likes of Jack O'Connor there and Owen Stars as well too. They're all going really well in the championship. And if I was Kieran Kingston there, I'd be looking. You see Owen Cadigan, Allen, Brian Turnbull, even like Connolly Han had his moments tonight. He's had the kind of moments in every game. It's just putting that kind of consistency over the 60 minutes together. Mark Coleman last night for Blarney was sensational against Blackrock. I'd be, if I was Kieran, I'd be happy enough. I'd say my lads are showing good form in the championship, and if they can kind of stay injury free. You're playing Waterford in a semi-final in Munster, and you win that, and confidence, momentum is up, and anything can happen. But I think Kieran Kingston and his management team would be really happy the way fellas are playing at the moment in the club championship.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. I mean, it's going to be a difficult campaign for Kieran. I think the county final is the 4th of October, then you're back into county training straight away. So the huge thing, as Fraggy said there, is the injury-free thing. If they can get through the next couple of weeks, it's going to be hot and heavy. September will be blocked off now, please God, with a really good, intense championship. So injury-free is a huge deal.
Just mention that the Waterford county final is on this weekend, tomorrow. Those players now will be freed up. Equally though, then they won't have competitive hurling for the next 6 weeks. So is it kind of a chicken and egg situation?
Yeah, I suppose you look at Davy, he's his players back now already, hasn't he? The Wexford Championship is over, but look, I suppose we've got the dual thing. We were a huge county, we've got multiple campaigns between intermediate, senior and junior and the whole lot, so from that point of view we just have to try and balance the books and play the games in as a reasonable time frame as we can. We can't block them off and play week on week off, and I think they're doing a good job on that with the fixture list at the moment. But once he can get through September and get fellas back fresh, keen and injury free, we'll have a right chance in that campaign.
Let's go back to Mark.
Yeah, and I will say that this is unconfirmed now, but I think from what I can make out from what I'm hearing at the moment, obviously, is the Glen are straight through to the semi-final, and they will be playing the winners of Qualifier 2. The Qualifier 2 is SARS versus Erin's Own, a local derby there. And then you have the Rockies play Douglas as a Qualifier 1, they're called QF1, versus QF3, who's na Piershig versus UCC. So just to call that again, you've Glen Rovers who are straight into the semi-final. It seems that, again, unconfirmed, that they are playing the winners of SARS and Erin's Own. And then in the other semi-final, the two quarter-final winners is the Rockies versus Douglas, and you have na Piershig versus UCC. Mouth-watering, SARS Erin's Own, Rockies Douglas. What a championship, Colin. It's absolutely massive. Fair play to Kevin O'Donovan, Ronan Dewan and the people behind the new format for the championship. This is what Cork hurling and football has been crying out for years. And I mean, I know Midleton will be bitterly disappointed, but that's what happens when in championship matches, when you lose a tight one. But a draw would have done them tonight. They would have been in the quarter final of the championship tonight. It's just how tight the game. And look what happened below in Glentown. Oh my God, Erin's Own to get a goal with the last puck of the game against Newtown Chandler, and they're now in against South. This is massive.
Yeah, and you mentioned it there, Mark. The format, like Midleton are out. They have had 3 quality games. They will be disappointed to be out, but you want players playing quality games, championship games, and while they haven't progressed, they've still been given the opportunity to play 3 games, which is may not have happened in the old format before, and that's what you're looking for. I suppose the one bonus of kind of everything that's going on at the moment, you have these kind of games in a condensed period, and the feedback is players just want to play games. They just want these. You mentioned there about Kieran Kingston not having his players back. if he has his players playing in quality games like we saw here tonight, he won't be that bothered. Obviously he'd like to have them and playing in-house games and stuff like that, but when it comes down to the last minute there and there's a ball breaking at the edge of the square, you know, you find out a lot about your players in a do or die scenario like that. And can you imagine now against Stars and Erin's own, ball dropping in the edge of the square, and you know you'll be learning a lot then about what players you have and what players you haven't in that period.
You look at the form, and we've mentioned the two Cadigans that were outstanding tonight, but Alan got 4 points. But up popped Brian Turnbull in the last 30 minutes of the game. You know, a guy coming back from injury, probably took a bit of time to get into the game, got 4 points in play. I mean, surely Kieran Kingston is going to be looking out for the lad now. He has something to offer for Cork, definitely.
And equally, let's talk about the other Cadigan, Owen. We were, especially in that second half, Kieran, we were just mentioning it there, scored that crucial point just psychologically from about 70 yards, but that kind of free roll, the way he was floating right across, he was either winning ball or he was an outlet for ball.
Yeah, certainly. He really showed his experience. Like, you know, we mentioned his tackle on the sideline, and also in the first half we mentioned when he looked up there was no player up the line to play the ball to, so he played a kind of a 1-2 with his wing forward, and they won the free. And the point he actually got the ball in space, he looked up and James Nagle was after dropping back and he covered Allen's run, so Owen's option was actually gone. He didn't panic, he steadied, he brought the ball forward another 5-6 yards, and he took the shot and he was able to execute. Owen has been tremendous the last few years. He's been excellent with Cork, and his form this year in the championship has been superb. You know, he's kind of been involved with the Cork minors over the last few years, Sean, and stuff like that. He's a great fella to have involved with young fellas, because he's very good to kind of share his experience, and he's a good communicator, and you could see there, you know, he played a really kind of leading role there tonight for Douglas.
Okay, we're just waiting, as I said, just on confirmations of scores there to bring you. So we're just hopefully going to bring in the Cork Premier SHC table, which will be popping up on your screen there in a few moments' time. Mark, you're the man that we're looking to for all the answers.
Jimmy McGee.
yeah. Well,
deadline there, Mark. Deadline there.
Look, all we can do is go with the information, Colm. I suppose next year we'll probably have the screens in front of us to show us exactly what's going on, but with the lower budget that we have this year, we'll just have to do the best we have with the technology that we have.
Marty's going to be replacing me anyway. That'll be the first cut.
I suppose, look, the big thing is really, I suppose, look, we're all Cork people here, and we all want to see the Cork sport progressing all the time, to be honest with it. And there has been a huge, I suppose, everybody's got in behind the Cork County Board now and stuff like that. And, you know, the field, we have a magnificent stadium here, magnificent field, and, you know, quality sponsors as well, the Bond Secure, the Co-op Superstores getting in behind the championships and stuff like that. So I think all that stuff is positive, but now we have a championship then to back it up as well, and we have promotion, we've got relegation, we're going to have 5 county champions in hurling this year, we'll have 4 in football, and I think, you know, the relegation is as important as the promotion is, Colm, like, you know, because if you don't do your business right, and it's I suppose it's a dramatic turnaround in the space of a fortnight in the Bears, in terms of, you know, the first 2 games they didn't play with, I suppose, the require spirit that you would require in the Cork Championship, but then to put on a very, very impressive performance, going out of the city, tight field down in Carrigaline and stuff like that, and getting massive results. So it just shows that if the attitude is right, Colm, you know, the players will perform and stuff like that. But I think in the overall context of things, this has been a really hugely exciting competition, and the fact that we are talking about this game, that the results went down to the last minute, the last puck of the game. Like, you know, the last puck play of the game here ended up inside in the middle and forward line, and they were just hoping to get a forward onto the ball that would get a shot off. Douglas, great credit to the Douglas defence, particularly in the last 5 or 6 minutes. I think the Douglas defence really came of age this evening, and what a mouth-watering crash we have now in the quarter-final, because we have the Rockies and we have Douglas. That's going to be a fantastic game. And Stars and Erin's own, what a quarter-final. That's massive as well, like.
We have to say something about the Glen, given who's here with us.
Yeah, well, look, the Glen will be delighted to get straight to the semi-final. They've won, in the last number of years, they've won 2 counties. They've been beaten by Immakilly in the county final last year as well, so they'll be hoping to get back there to try and win it again. But they'll be delighted to get straight through to the semi-final. I think that is it is a help to teams. I know people will say now, whoever's played in the quarter final, whoever wins it, and if they come in and they beat the semi-finalists, that they say, the extra game was a help. But I still think, because the championship is so condensed, the extra week's break, I think, will do them a power of good.
Okay, we're going to bring up because I mentioned a little earlier, we'll have a quick chat through some of the other group tables. We'll bring up the Cork Senior A table from earlier this afternoon, just to explain the quarter-final pairing and semi-final pairing there. So it's going to be Kanturk v Bandon, and Newcestown will play Bride Rovers, and the semi-finals then will be Father O'Neill's, and they will be playing the winners of the Newcestown Bride Rovers game, and then it's Charleville in the other semi-final, and they'll be playing Kanturk or Bandon. And I hate to mention it at the end, but the relegation game will be Killa and Kilworth.
Yeah, which one will we comment on there now? As very disappointing to see Killa in the relegation final. Only a number of years ago, Killa beat Douglas down in Cove, so it's been a big dramatic fall, I suppose, in the last number of years. But look, it is what it is, and they just have to pick themselves up and get on with it. It's a massive game for the club, and I know a lot of the players they'll be gutted this evening that they're in that situation. But look, the stats don't lie, Colm. At the end of the day, if you're beaten 3 times in the championship in the 1 year, you probably deserve to be in the relegation final, and there can be no complaints.
And I suppose just at the top end then, I suppose looking at the likes of Father O'Neill's continuing on from their superb campaign last year and getting to the All-Ireland final, and again just bringing in the Cork piece again. I suppose supposedly Decky Dalton scored very, very heavily again today, so his form continues to be really, really strong, and maybe he brings something different.
Is he? Yeah, I was about to ask.
I think so, Colm.
Perhaps is he lacking maybe the yard or two of pace at intercounty?
Maybe, but there's a place for everyone, and if the right ball goes in and he's positioned rightly at the edge of the square, maybe he just bucks the trend, and maybe we just have a couple of fellas that are of a similar ilk. But any fella scoring as heavily as he has to come into the reckoning.
Yeah, Declan Dalton, he's never going to be an Alan Cadd again, or a Shane Kingston. But as Sean said there, you need different types of players, and Declan, he's a good ball winner, he's a great striker. He came off the bench last year against Limerick up in the Gaelic grounds in the Munster, and he got 2 crucial points, and
I
that's
must
what
say,
he can do.
He would have fancied that last shot tonight, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and that's not being critical, I suppose.
Yeah, no,
the lads were
completely.
there. I mean, Luke Farrell has done great stuff for Cork over the years, and Tommy O'Connell got a great goal. He's a young fella and he'll come good, but I know what you're saying. Like, he has that bit of a killer instinct. He's got a massive shot off him. He got a rasper in the final last year, in the All-Ireland final off his left. I'd say he was nearly 25-30 yards out, so as Frankie said, he offers something different.
And he's good, he has fierce confidence in his own ability as well. It wasn't too long ago he stepped up down in Walsh Park in the 21 Munster Championship, last puck of the game penalty, and he had to get a goal to win it, and he buried it. And that's what Declan brings. As I said, he's not going to be, you look at some of the other young fellas, Brian Turnbull, Jack O'Connor, like, they all have ferocious pace. But we need fellas to win the ball for these guys as well too, and to lay it off. And Declan's made huge strides over the last few years, and if he continues in that vein, it would be good to see him contribute during the championship.
What I like about Declan Dalton, if he's to make the team, for the Cork team that is, obviously, I think he complements the forwards that we actually have at the moment, because Hannity is probably at the moment seen as a physical driving force within that 6 forward line. I think Declan Dalton could complement a lot of our players, the likes of Patrick Horgan, Shane Kingston, Alan Cadigan, Turnbull, maybe Jack O'Connor, Lehane. They may feed off of a fella like Declan Dalton and the Hannitys, who's already doing it at this moment in time. And if you had a situation where we say Patrick Horgan has had a very, very good career in terms of avoiding injury and stuff like that. So if you had a Patrick Horgan scenario that he wasn't playing, but I then think the responsibility for free taking would shift over to Declan Dalton at that stage, and anything from kind of 80 yards in, he is certainly, from a club perspective, has been very, very competent and very confident over the last number of years. And his form, and this is the beauty of the club championship being on before the inter-county scene, is that we're getting a look at the players in their clubs. And to be fair, all the inter-county fellas involved at this moment in time. You saw Mark Coleman got the headlines tonight after last night for Blarney. So a lot of the inter-county fellas are playing to form and playing a bit better, and you'd expect that as well, because they are the best players in their clubs, and you would expect, and that's the responsibility that your inter-county player has going back to his club, is that he is expected to be the key man in the team. Like,
so in terms of the teams that are left in it, who are the likely?
Yeah, sure. I suppose look, okay, go through the three quarterfinals at the moment. Rockies and Douglas.
Sorry. Well, let's go back to the Cork senior A.
So okay, so like you have Charleville on one side of the draw. They're in the semi-final. They're going to be playing the winners of Kanturk and Bandon. So I'd expect the Kanturk, in my view, will get over Bandon. Kanturk were very unlucky, Colin, that they weren't in the semi-final because they had a 30-point scoring difference. And
that'd be a spicy semi-final,
wouldn't it? Charleville got in by a point and 31 points. So you'll have I think you'll have a Kanturk Charleville semi-final there. And I hope, I would hope that we'd have crowds back, but I don't think we will. So it depends where the venue is. I think that's an important thing there. Charleville are very, very competent and have one of the best hurlers in Cork in Dara Fitzgibbon. But I think Ronan Kern has this Kanturk team firing in all cylinders. They have 6 or 7 inter-county players between under 21s and seniors. A lot of experience in Loughlin McLaughlin. Then you have an excellent goalkeeper in Nash. So that's going to be a tight one. Charleville are favourites, but I'd be giving Kanturk a right good opportunity. And then on the other side, you have Father O'Neill's, who, as Shawnee said, have held their form fierce well. The Bride Rovers and Newcestown game, very, very tight one to call there. Bride Rovers will probably be seen as the fact that they have no hurling, no football next weekend. They'll have a 2-week clear run in that till they get to that quarter-final. I think they might slightly be expected to win that game, and then you have an East Cork derby. So you have a North Cork derby in one semi-final, maybe an East Cork derby on the other side.
Okay, very quickly, lads, because the light's gone out here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Just want to bring up the last graphic there from Raf up there from the Co-op Superstores Premier IHC quarterfinals. These games, of course, were played last night. So the quarterfinals will be Watergrass Hill v Courcey Rovers, Blarney v Ballincollig, and then the semi-finals will be Castlelyons v Watergrass Hill or Courcey's. That'll be one semi-final, and then in the other semi-final it'll be Carrigaline will be playing either Blarney or Ballincollig. And as I was saying to Mark there earlier, I was at the Watergrass Hill Valleys game last night, and again an incredible match. Watergrass Hill were 6 points to no score up. Valleys came back into it, and in the end it was a point from a substitute, Aidan Ryan, with about 60 minutes gone, that decided it. And again, back to what Mark and all of us are saying here tonight, we're talking about every score counting, closeness of games. It isn't just in the top flight, it's right across the grades.
Well, the Courcey's thing is just incredible, isn't it? The fact that they started the campaign, or they started the game last night with 0 points, and they went through on the back of another high score, which I think was the Carrigaline and Nahead game, was the Carrigaline won so heavily. And again back to the Cork scene, there's loads of Cork players in view in that competition as well. And fellas like Shane O'Regan spring to mind from Watergrass Hill. Didn't play that well, I suppose, against UCC or with Kelly the other night, but he's a quality player. He had a great campaign last year. And the Spillans are shooting the lights out inside in Castlelyons. Colm is playing in the forward. So that's an intriguing competition as well. For me, Castlelyons have probably been the standout team to date, but looking at 5 goals in the form of David Drake last night for Carrigaline, that's a watering competition to go yet. There's plenty of hurling to be done there yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but Blarney, I suppose, started as favourites for that championship, and Castlelyons overturned them in one of the games that we covered live, so they've gone favourites. And Carrigaline and Blarney are paired on one side of the draw, so whoever comes out of that side, I think Castlelyons, possibly Watergrass Hill, I think will get through the quarter-final and play Castlelyons. Again, mouth-watering situation with Watergrass Hill and Castlelyons possibly on one side of the draw, and I think Blarney and Carrigaline in the other semi-final for me.
Okay, Kieran, I'm going to give you the final word. What a championship.
Yeah, as Mark said earlier, there's great credit due, because it did take a lot to change the structure, and I suppose it's been the proof is in the pudding tonight, and last night as well too. All the games, it came down to the last few minutes, and that's what you're looking for. The championship, it really needed a bit of life brought into it, Mark. In the last few years,
But people are actually sitting around the table having a cup of tea. They're not having a pint, Colin, because you can't get to the pubs, right? but there actually are discussing matches now. There's actually chat happening, real conversations happening about the club championship, and that's really what the players want, and what I suppose the neutral observer and the supporter and the man who's willing to take his hard-earned money and come to a match if he was allowed to come to the match. And like when you see last year's county final, there was only 5,500 people paid in to see the Glen in a county final. I mean, it's incredible to think 5,500 people. You know, that's because the championship had lost its appeal. I think its appeal is back, and you know, the live streaming, whether it is the pandemic has actually helped it and stuff like that. The amount of people that are getting access to watch matches now on television is incredible. Like people that wouldn't have paid it, you know, we said the older generation that have said to themselves, look, I'm not going to put myself to the pressure of actually watching the match, but would I pay a $5 to watch a live stream? I think they will pay that, and I think that'll be a big thing into the future, where a live stream is going to become a common thing. But in the overall context of things, we have a massive championship and people are back talking about the Cork Championship.
Yeah, and I think the board and clubs had a duty of care to step up as well, Colin, because an awful lot of criticism from a Cork perspective, we were all involved at senior level, at coaching and management level, was that, we weren't doing well at underage, or 21s weren't winning all Irons in our minors, and in some ways that took a little bit of pressure off the club scene. And maybe that's where a lot of the root of the problem was. Maybe we were known as the little All-Ireland, known here for years, and that the whole appeal seemed to have gone, and it was all about the Galway Championship in Portumna, it was all about Thurles Arras and Tip. So there was a duty of care to maybe start stepping up, and without doubt this year it has stepped up, and we've had some fantastic games to date.
Okay, well said. And the weekend isn't over, because there's intermediate A and lower intermediate grades to be played tomorrow. Well, that is where we're going to have to leave it tonight. My thanks to Mark, to Shawnee and to Kieran for their company. Raf and Will were on technical duties here. Michelle was back at base. The lights may be gone out. It might be dark here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh this evening and in Cork City, but I can tell you one thing for nothing. The Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship is only starting to light up, and we'll be looking forward to the quarter-finals, the semi-finals and the finals right across the grades in the weeks ahead. That is where we're going to have to leave our Co-op Superstore sponsored live stream coverage from tonight. Thank you so much for your company over the course of the evening, and we look forward to returning to the action once again for the football next weekend.